Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Risen Esports Rampage Open Finals. We have Apes together strong at an 8-1 record, going against One Man Dance Party at 8-1 as well. I am your play-by-play Lemons, joined today by my friend, my duo, Go Farino, for this Lem Farino cast. We are already getting into the picks and bans here, my friends, so I'm going to have to cut you a little bit later. We've got Misfortune, Garen, and Oriana banned away on the blue side. Olaf, Shen, and Nautilus on the red side. First pick is looking like it could be Alawi, and it goes in.
Yeah, no surprise there, because Depression, I mean, he is a Shen one-trick, pretty hardcore, and his Shen's been banned, so the Alawi is his secondary. And, of course, JV Frog, he's going to insta-lock in that Tryndamere for himself in that top lane, so these top laners just already going at it, because, I mean, if we do not see any top laners picked until the second phase of picks, it's very likely these top laners will have their top lane pools very heavily pitched.
They will indeed, and we are flying through these picks and bans. As you had mentioned, the Tryndamere and the Kayn picked up, as well as the Kassadin on the side of ODP. And we had the Fizz and Zach locked in for ATS.
Yeah, and the bans are anything to go off from the first set of them. I mean, we're probably just going to see a lot more target bans here, because all of these bans so far have just been targeted here. Well, sure, some of them are pretty meta right now. We all know Misfortune's pretty meta, Nautilus pretty meta, Olaf pretty meta, but it's like they're being banned because these players play them, and that seems to be the case here for the rest of them.
Indeed. As we got through the second phase of bans, we had the Karma Ezreal taken off on the blue side, Leona Ashe on the red side. First pick in the second phase for ODP is going to be that Nami. It is responded to by the Galio there, and I'd love to see that pick, something that kind of fell out of the meta and starting to see a little bit more here recently in the last couple months. And then to round out the composition, Apes together strong, pick up the late game Sivir.
Yeah, and the Sivir is going to be very nice for their composition, because Apes Together Strong, they have a composition that kind of just wants to run you down. And, I mean, what AD carry to help facilitate that better than Sivir herself? You just press on the hunt, you yell in the sky, and then all your teammates are like, oh, I got a pork boy. You're just, like, running them down at Mach 5. I know you're actually a big F1 enthusiast here, so maybe you can comment on it?
You know, it's a tough question. I'm not the biggest F1 person, but hey, sometimes it is fun to go really fast. I do have to say, one thing that's going to go really fast is this Vayne paired up with the Nami, especially when you get the extra movement speed coming through with the abilities from Nami. It gets so scary when a Vayne can chase you down like that in the later parts of the game. So honestly, ODP is going hard for late game here, as we saw the Tryndamere, Kassadin, and the Vayne picked up.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, here for her ODP is that they are going very hard into that late game, like you said. The Kassadin needs time to scale. Like, once you hit a level 11 on the Kassadin and have, like, your 2 item spike, then you really start coming online. And then, of course, you're on level 16. Vayne, of course, one of the quintessential late game characters, although it does technically come online earlier now because you go play the Rune King into that Ginsu. Then, of course, Tryndamere, he does also need some time to scale up himself, since you want to get him into that primo position for split pushing.
Yeah, it's just can become such a useful tool, especially going into that mid game. But when you look at the compositions together, I do have to say I favor Apes Together Strong's roundabout composition, where they do have some late game, but they also have some mid game prowess there with some of these picks, and a lot of teamwork going to be coming in. I mean, you have the Zac going to be able to slingshot in, followed up with the Galio, who is going to be around for those big team fights, especially around the objectives that we all know and love, especially looking at that dragon there, because you do have some strength around like the pick potential for One Man Dance Party, but as soon as you get into those big team fights, it's going to be a lot harder to pull something off when you have all that CC and all that tank ability coming through from ATS.
Yeah, for sure. And when you look over the side of One Man Dance Party, I mean, it's not like they're going to have some superstar tank that's going to be able to just eat up all that CC for them. Any one of these champions will get heavily destroyed if they get crowd controlled. in a fight, even with a potential Nami heal and all the peel coming from this Nami. I mean, let's be honest, if you get CC locked for 5 seconds on any of these champions for one-man dance party, you're probably gonna die. Except, of course, for Tryndamere, because you do have the Undying Rage, but you're still technically dying. You're just refusing
Yeah.
to die.
Well, and I do expect for the Kayn to go the red Kayn, the Darken, to get that extra tankiness, but as well as being able to provide a little bit of CC. Because when you can get in there as that red Kayn and you can provide a little bit of knockup, a little bit of spare time, you can get the Kassadin into the fight, get a kill, and get out. You can get the Tryndamere in there and actually smacking on someone and providing that damage that you're looking for. So it's really going to be about how they pilot this early game. If they can get through with some scratches, some bruises, but no blood, they're going to be sitting pretty when you get to that 15, 20, 25-minute mark. But it's going to be also about how ATS can push their advantage in the early parts of the game. How Binks is going to do on this Zac. Is he going to be able to focus on this bot lane, try and get them ahead? Is he going to go for the Fizz, for the roaming from the mid lane? There's just so many options that you can do for ATS that it gets a little bit scary thinking of a counterplay from ODP.
For sure, but also at the same time, it does mean that Binks might have to potentially stretch himself thin, because if you want to pay some visits to the bot lane and pay some visits to the mid lane, hey, your farm's going to take a toll, not to mention you're not going to be able to visit that top lane. I mean, granted though, Alawi, fairly self-sustaining, especially since it is very easy to 1v2 on that champion once you get the Leap of Fate. Either way though, this game here for Apes Together Strong, I do agree with you here, and that Binks, he's going to be carrying a lot of weight to ensuring their success.
Yeah, indeed. And I think one of the key points to this series, and we are trapped in here for a best of 5, is going to be how ATS adapt around depression. He is their top laner. He is a very solid rock, but only on a few champions. And having a smaller pool really can put you in a little bit of a spot of struggle going in if you start losing the matchups that you maybe are favored for. So this Alawi first game, I think, is going to be so crucial and so important for how the rest of the drafts develop through the rest of the series.
Yes, and of course, like, if this Alawi does do well, I mean, there's a highly likely chance that maybe for the rest of the series, one-man dance party just bans away both the Alawi and Shin, immediately really cutting into Depression's top lane champion pool, because already just taking away the Shen is a huge blow to him. He is nowhere near as many games on the Alawi as the Shen in solo queue. So if you're forcing him onto these uncomfortable picks, that might show some breaks in the chains here on ATS's armor.
Yeah, for sure. And I do think that on the other side, H2O Element is going to be a key factor to their success as well. Just as we were talking about Binks being able to roam around the map and try to maybe stretch himself a little bit too thin, Kayn is also going to be in the same boat. I mean, you're going to have to try and get your essence early. You're going to try and get, hopefully, I don't know, you never know, maybe go for the Shadow Assassin, go full assassin comp. But if you are going for the red Kayn, you got to get those engagements early against those melee champions, those beefier bodies, and try and get something rolling that way. And on the other side of the spectator delay, we are going to see how that all pans out for this game number 1. So do not go anywhere, as we'll be right back.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere, I swear, like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous, but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun.
We are back and on Summoner's Rift here, ladies and gentlemen, to kick off our best of 5 finals here in the Rampage Open for Risen Esports. We are on to the Rift. Not going to see anything too spicy, it looks like. Although they do have some pretty strong level 1s here, Go Farino.
Yeah, definitely indeed. Not to mention, if One Man Dance Party does go for an early level 1 and they get a kill here, I mean, H2O Element, he is going to be fairly set on this King because that'll be a lot of potential little cane orbs early on. I don't know the exact terminology for them. I think they're orbs. I don't know. The little cane
orbs
giblets.
things.
Cane
They are
things.
essence.
Ah, Essence. That was
So
cool.
it reminds me of if you've ever played Heroes of the Storm, Dahaka. That's all I can think about.
I have never played HOTS.
Oh, that's so sad. That hits me right in the heart, Go Farino. I don't know if we can be duo anymore. Guys, you just saw it here live on the Risen channel. We are breaking up. No, I'm just joking. It's a unfortunately dead game. But anyway.
After friendship ended with lemons. Now
Yeah,
Caddy is
exactly.
my best friend.
So the biggest thing right now that I want to take a look at, and you had mentioned it during the switch over during the spectator delay, is this lethal tempo on the Tryndamere here. It's going to be a very interesting pick, and let you explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not an expert of Tryndamere by any means here. I know he can take a wide variety of runes. I was kind of expecting the phase rush potentially a little just to help with the whole running down aspect. Lethal tempo is of course good, especially for little 1 versus 1s in that top lane. You just go in, you hit him with your spin, and that'll give you the attack speed. Or there are, of course, other ways to play. You just, the classic level 2 Tryndamere trade or level 1 Tryndamere trade, where you just walk up with a full rage bar, auto them once and hope for a crit, and then spin away. You hit them with an auto, you spin away. They can't really retaliate.
Yeah, they can't retaliate at all, and that's what brings so much strength to that. But the Alawi can be a bit tough there for Tryndamere with just a bit of stickiness that maybe is not expected early on, especially once you get the Test of Spirit. It can be really, really strong up there to kind of bully the lane. So we'll definitely be looking at that once level 3s are hit. Here on the bot side, though, you see a lot of pretty much stalemate going on where both teams are pretty evenly farming the lane. Nobody's getting a real big push, and that could lead to some ganks coming a little bit earlier than expected.
And it is a little surprising. I mean, granted, it is fairly early on in this laning phase, so still though, I expect B&J and Toasted Crayons to be pushing in a little harder on this Sivir Galio duo. One of the best ways you can screw over that Vayne in lane is, of course, just shoving her under that tower 24/7 and making her lose CS, while you're getting tower plates and a CS advantage. Gank in the mid lane here.
Yeah, are going to see the pullback as well. Piglord's going to have to flash, and that's a big cooldown being used. Meanwhile, on the top side, we're going to see another gank coming through. Flash used by Depression as well. And get a nice amount of damage back. The Test of Spirit's going to come out and get even more. But that is Flash's burn for the top laner for ATS as well.
Yeah. And that is a fairly successful gank coming out from the H2O element there. Because, I mean, we all know Kane ganks are kind of weak early on. You kind of need to digi-evolve into your final form there to finally get some juice going on in those ganks. Otherwise, it is a little lacking. Granted, though, due to the way his passive works, you do need to make those ganks happen early on. And judging by the Conquer Room, we are most likely going to be seeing the Ross this game around.
Yeah, I expect it. Now, we do see Invade coming through from H2 Element, who was trying to get something on the top side of the jungle, but not going to be very fruitful for him, as it is going to be Binks who actually gets a little bit ahead on the farm. In that case here coming up. Meanwhile, on the bot side, you saw a decent trade, and here on the top side, Depression as well. Gank came through, but Sean's Beard is Fizz, and we all know what Fizzes can do.
Yeah, able to get out with the troll pull there. All in the bot lane, though.
Gonna get the taunt as well. Saza is being able to do a bunch of damage here. Now it's gonna be Binks who comes in, misses the grab, does get bubbled here. B&J needs to be careful. That's gonna be re-engaged on is Saza. It is a Vayne, and you gotta be careful because you don't have very much movement speed going on this early in the game. One more shot would do it. Saza not gonna do it, but first blood goes over to H2 Element, looking for second, as it's going to be Saza taking the kill, goes down to the tower. It is 2 for 2 for 2 on the bot side.
That was definitely a little bit of a Mimi situation there, not gonna lie. But, I mean, props to B&J there, though. That was a very clutch spell shield that came out from him. On in the top lane, though, JP Frog fancies this. Gonna eat the Test of Spirit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good amount of damage returned there, as you can see. As Frog needs to be a bit more careful on these trades, as 6 is coming up. And I'm sure Depression is going to be hitting that a little bit sooner here, as that extra damage there on those big engages where you do have that slow from the Test of Spirit onto Frog, that's going to be really hard to get away from for the Tryndamere.
Yeah, and not to mention, even if Frog does push up to tower on this Tryndamere, you have to keep in mind, when you throw out that Test of Spirit, the tower will auto-attack it, so that can just be a bunch of free damage for you. So that is something to keep in mind if we do see this lane pushed up. Granted, though, that's probably not something we're going to see here for a bit. JV Frog does really want to back and get his Tiamat sometime soon. I'm assuming he's going to get an early Tiamat into a potential Essence Reaver here, since Tryndamere loves cooldown reduction on his dash just so much.
Yeah, he really does. That cooldown reduction helps so much. And first dragon on the Rift is that Mountain Dragon, so there is a potential for some fun Drakes to start us off in this series, at least. We'll have to see as we get further into the game here, as objectives are going to be spawning here, as well as the Rift Herald coming up in about 1:30, but no real priority around any vision in the objectives here, at least early on. But I expect that to change in the next couple minutes. Meanwhile, Sean's Beard has been so aggressive in the mid lane.
Yeah, not surprising. This is a Fizz. This is early game. He has the Ignite. He has the Electrocute. Saza, he fancies his trade in the bot lane, but here comes Birdio.
Yeah, he's got the angle on him too. Here comes the stun knockup taunt as well. That's going to be Toasted Crayon picking up the kill on the bot side, as that's a big one and a bit unfortunate for Saza.
That was very unfortunate there. He condemned a minion instead of Toasted Crayon. Keep in mind also, that was an exhaust use from Saza. Gorda also used his flash there to try and save his AD carry with the heal.
Well, we're going to see the pullback. B&J does have the damage. Flash forward with the less bounce. Binks picking up the kill there. They are popping off on the bot side.
And that is not something you really want to be seeing right now, because Vayne can fall behind in lane so hard. especially against Sivir, who can just perma shove you in. Sure, that Sivir isn't going to be just continuously mauling this way. Oh, wait, H2 Element.
Element's a little bit early here. He's going to be baiting out. Now comes the TP from the Kassadin in the mid lane. They're going to try to get this dragon here. Who gets it? It's going to go over to Binks. Now the fight's going to engage. Here comes the TP from the Alawi. That's going to be a big engage in the fight, but the fight's already won here by Apes Together Strong. We're going to look to chase down Saza. Condemn goes on to Toasted Crayon. Here comes the damage, though. Sean's Beard has gotten the angle. That's going to be Toasted Crayon picking up another one. That is the only unfortunate part about all this, is it seems like the Galio is picking up every single kill.
It is a little unfortunate that the majority of kills have gone over to Binks and Toasted Crayons, but I mean, at the same time, you've put 3 deaths onto this Vayne, 2 deaths onto this Kayn. That is denying a lot of scaling potential from this team, because keep in mind, Vayne scales up very well, especially against this Apes Together Strong comp. When you look at Depression, when you look at Binks, they are all going to be building so much health, and I mean, we all know what Vayne does to health bars. She deletes them. H2 Element.
That is her job, my man, as Sean's Beard's going to have to blow his flash here. Going to be in a bit of trouble, a little bit worse for wear. She's actually able to get out of there. Meanwhile, Frog has been having a fun time on the top side. Finally, his lane dancing partner is going to show up and put a stop to the free farm there. Meanwhile, the bot side, you're seeing a engage coming through on the hunt's going to be used. That's going to be Garadra just getting exploded. And honestly, at this point, just give him the money.
Yeah, like, that was a flashless Nami. You could have just, like, saved that kill for your AD carry. I mean, by the way, you are still getting an advantage in this bot lane. Maybe it's not the exact advantage you want, but that is still assist golden EXP going over to BNJ, who is going to appreciate that on this server. Flash in the mid lane from Piglord, respecting the ever-loving hell out of Sean's Beard right now, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, immediately flashing after the little blink there. It's just putting that extra little bit of safety into it. Definitely abiding by the OSHA rules, at least in League of Legends. As we're going to see some vision being taken out here by H2L Element. To see if they maybe want to go for the objective, as the first objective of the game went over to the side of Apes Together Strong in the form of a mountain dragon. Next dragon is going to be the cloud drake, so that means we aren't going to see the mountain or the cloud for our soul in this game number 1, but that means we might have some spiciness depending on which one we get. Actually, some real spiciness or some real cooling effects on the 2 souls we have left.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point our attention to, aside from the mid lane scuffle there, H2 Element, he has been doing a great job of at least getting these early stacks. But if you take a look at the mid lane, as we saw earlier with Piglord with that immediate flash out, let's take a look at the item differential right now, Lemons. Like, that is a full proto belt to a tier and parts of a catalyst. Like, this Fizz for Sean's Beard should just be having an absolute ball in this mid lane rat. Look at this setup from Binks though. Slingshot.
Slingshot's going to be able to connect on the hunt, used as well. That's going to get the knockback on Garadra, who's going to just get exploded again. And another kill going over, and they are really putting all their eggs into the basket of the bot lane here, as they're going to look to push this tower even more, pick up some power plays for themselves, and definitely fill up those coin purses just a little bit more.
Yeah, because that's now 2 kills on the server. H2 Element, he's looking for this, mostly just here to say, hey, please back off my tower. As, if we take a look at the gold lead, I mean, that's nearly 2,500 separating these 2 teams, just a little over 2K, and at this point in the game, that is going to be a pretty noticeable chunk.
It is, it is. Now, you still do have the benefits of the scaling for the side of ODP, but you can't give up more than you already have. It's 8-3 now in kills, and Frog looking to give Depression a run for his money up here, going to go ahead and pop the Undying Rage. Gonna have to flash out as well. That ultimate from Depression is just too strong. You can't go into that fight, and Depression handles it like a beast.
Yeah, and oh my god, that was a bit of problematic positioning there from JV Frog, because he went in too far, and then when he tried flashing out, sure, he was mostly off Depression's range, but the test of Spirit, or sorry, the Leap of Faith tentacles were still down, and they were still in range. he wanted to potentially try and get away from that more easily, he could have tried flashing into the river. There is,
Yeah.
of course, always the risk of Binks being down there, but there isn't the risk of a tentacle being down there. Sean Beard going in on the mid lane as usual, but just teasing us with his fist.
Yeah, and that's just such a hard time because those tentacles, the end of the range isn't very clear, and that was like the very tip of it. Frog almost got out of that, and honestly, probably yelling at his screen a little bit after that one. As we are going to see the Rift Herald being started up here by Binks, and it is more than likely going to be contested here. Element's going to finally come in there. We're going to see who has the better smite as he goes into Binks. That's going to be picked up here as well by the side of ATS, and they're going to continue to push the fight, but Sean's Beard needs to be careful. He's going to go down. Pig's Lord is finally on the board, and Casa win is still an objective here.
Yeah, because keep in mind that was also a shutdown, I believe, that was picked up on Sean's Beard there thanks to those kills he got earlier. And that's now 2-0 Cassian, who also got a small boost from shutdown. That is not something you want to be dealing with here as Apes together strong. And come in the future, they're going to want to watch out for that. Granted, though, due to all that scuffling in the top lane, they are able to get this Cloud Dragon, and they do still have that Rift Herald. And they aren't going to
They kind of grabbed everything and just took it all for themselves here as they've ballooned their lead here to just about that 3K mark, and see a lot of pressure being on this top side, which means that Binks can just roam around the bot third of the map really, and you've seen it as a clear point. He's been bot the entire game almost ever since Depression was able to get a little bit of a lead in the top side, and that's what we highlighted in the draft. We really thought this top side could affect the rest of the map, and it definitely has. Now the biggest thing for me is trying to get Saza and Garadra back into this game, and we see Piglord's attempt is going to be coming up here pretty soon as the Rift Herald is going to be spawned on the bot side.
But here comes the cavalry.
Yeah, they're going to try. They aren't sure that they want to go in though. A lot of miscommunication there. As they're going to turn back onto the Rift Herald. It isn't going to get the charge off, so that's always good news. But that was definitely a moment that you could have capitalized on.
Oh, JB Frog gonna eat up that Test of Spirit, and yeah, that was a 4 versus 3. I feel like they should have tried harder. You still have the Nami ultimate, you have the Vayne ultimate. You could have tried so much more there, but instead just backing off. They do at least deny the Rift Herald here, though, from the one-man dancing party, so they do deny that first tower falling in that bot lane, which would have been a pretty nice, juicy, sizable amount of gold going over to the Apes together strong.
So the biggest thing for me here, that play right there could turn out to be absolute genius for MotoGP. It could turn out that not going to that fight, maybe they would have given over a couple more kills, but biding your time with this hard scaling team, which you have 3 members that are super scaling, and need to wait until like 25 minutes into the game. If you just kind of bide your time, you're gonna get there eventually, and you're gonna make it to where ATS has to make the move and has to press their advantage to force the game, or they're just gonna fall out to the slow bleed of scaling team comp.
I mean, Apes together is strong. They do have scaling themselves here, because Sivir does scale like a monster. Oh, Depression has to be careful.
Big Lord's gonna go in. Here comes the leap of faith, though. That's gonna be a ton of damage coming down. That is the oh my goodness, the amount of tentacles on the screen right now, as Element's just gonna get slammed and bammed, and he's actually not gonna go down because of the mobility coming out from the Kane as well. And after all those fireworks go free, we get nothing. I feel a little bit, it was a bit lackluster.
It did force out 2 flashes, though, from the H2 element and Pig Lord, so that is the strength of the Alawi. You can pull off those crazy 1 versus 3s a lot of the time. And it does also help that there weren't any grievous wounds itemized yet here between those 3 members on the top part here for one-man dance party.
I see a lot of the same. I feel like we're going to start to get deja vu here as Zach has been a consistent member of this bot lane trio now. As that's going to be the tidal wave coming through. Binks is going to be in a bit of trouble here, as well as Toasted Crayons. As if you go back like that, we're going to go right into the Vayne. And he does get out after flashing the re-engage there. But H2L Element and Pig Lord are right on the heels of the enemy here. That's going to be a beautiful bubble that lands on BNJ, who's going to go down. That's going to be 2 kills going over on the bot side. A shutdown, especially going over to Pig Lord. And that's going to be a good amount of gold. 600, in fact, into that Casa Wins pocket. And they're going to be looking a lot better after that fight.
That is a spooky prospect. We're mentioning it here earlier, Lemons, that this Caston, everybody knows it's a ticking time bomb, and he's already got 3 stacks on that row. We'll take a quick look at the tier of Goddess here. 548, so just about 200 off that fully completed Seraph's Embrace, and that is going to be a very spooky prospect here once that Caston is fully stacked. But props to One Man Dance Party there for just denying that play, because you said it yourself. We've seen this before. Binks down in the bot lane. Binks trying to shove down that turret, but One Man Dance Party just fighting back and saying, no.
Exactly that. And we do get to see a little bit of life here. The biggest problem for me right now in the game is you really need to be careful about this top lane, because Alawi is getting very, very strong. And if anything is going to ruin those big fights that you're looking for, it is going to be the Alawi. Here on the bot side, Saza is just going to be caught out here. That is going to be all she wrote for the Vayne as the Chum the Waters lands in there. That's going to be actually the top lane fight going on again. Meanwhile, the bot lane was being pushed in and most likely going to be taken as that outer tier tower is not looking great.
Yeah, and speaking of top lane, I want to question JJV or JFrog's build here, because if you look at it, Lemons, he built the Merchants, and I'm asking why. Like, get the Ninja Tabis. That'll help you so much more against the Alawi.
The only thought process I could think of would be for the slow from the Test of Spirit and all that goes with it. The only thing is, though, why wouldn't you just go Boots of Swiftness to get that extra slowdown? But, I mean, maybe thinking longer term, especially looking at the Zac and things like that, it can help out. But just, I agree, it doesn't help in the moment, and that is exactly what you need right now. You need help in the moment.
Yeah, not to mention, this Tryndamere is most likely going to be played primarily for the split push here. As that's usually what you run the Tryndamere for. You just kind of split a lane until you end the game.
There's just not much that he can do right now in the state of the game, but just got to keep on trucking. It's all part of that grind. It's all part of the inner grind, as we have finally gotten to decide what our Ocean, or I guess what the soul is going to be. It's going to be Ocean, as just a little bit of foreshadowing there beforehand. But it is going to be the Ocean Soul this time around. The third dragon was picked up by Apes Together Strong, so they're going to be on soul point for themselves. And that is going to mean that the next dragon that comes up, I want to see ODP fight for it, because if you give over that Ocean Soul to the team that they have, it is not going to be a pretty sight.
Yeah, like, just look up and down. We already... Oh, there's the Chum the Waters coming out.
That's going to be a lot of damage. Half health onto the Nami. That's an instant kill going over Sean's beard. Here comes the fight, though, as that's going to be Vayne popping off here. Toasted Crayon's going to have to be careful. He does get the taunt onto the Kassadin, but a lot of damage going through from Saza, and that's starting to get a little glimmer of the Vayne power into the later parts of the game, and you have both your scaling members down there on the bot side.
Yeah, but if you look in the mid lane here, Apes Together Strong, they are at least fighting back and getting some more pressure on this mid lane inner turret. They aren't able to get it there, but taking a sizable chunk out of that. H2 Element does have Pig Lord here on the back, but it doesn't look like either of them are going to be in range to catch these two members.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because Depression has been in the same lane state for the last, 7 minutes, and nobody has really wanted to come up there and deal with him. Now we're starting to see some response coming out. But the question is, do you go in as a full group? Because that leap of faith is going to be super strong. Here we go. We're going to see it anyways, as Depression is going to look for the outplay here in the 1v3. There goes the leap of faith, immediately used probably a little bit early there, but Depression's still going to get a lot of damage down. That's going to be a lot used. He's going to be able to take this as the rest of the team is here on the hunt with Hughes. And let's bounce on the backside. Tidal Wave's going to stop a little bit of damage, but those are the tentacles still raining hell on the opponent. That's going to be a pickup of the Tryndamere from the random tentacle there. Meanwhile, Toasted Crayons is picking off in the back, and I think this game is so far out of ODP's hands that it's not even funny.
Yeah, they don't even have grievous wounds for this, so why are you trying to do this into this Alawi that has been doing so well? Looks like
the Saza coming with the comeback here. We're going to see the re-engage going through. That was a beautiful bubble from Garadra, but the re-engage is not there. Saza doesn't have enough damage to take the front-to-back team fight, as now he's going to look to take on D&J. He's going to get a nice chase, but Chum the Waters lands right away. That's going to be the flash. The kill going over. That's Vayne taking down. Garadra is next. Double kill, triple kill going through for Sean's beard. and that is looking like the top in-hit tower that is going to fall.
Oh, we might not be over yet. There's the taunt.
They're just going in. What is this? Engage is coming left and right there, Go Burrito.
No chill whatsoever on this Apes Together strong composition. I mean, look at them. There's 5 of them together, and they seem pretty damn strong right now.
They do, and the fact that you see the synergy coming together, I mean, obviously when you're ahead, it makes it a little easier to press the go button, but meanwhile, we see the go button being pressed onto Piglord. That's going to be the Spirit there, going to get the slowdown. I don't think you're going to kill Cassian with it, though, because you do have the wonderful ability to teleport yourself everywhere with the Rift Walk, so it was super close, but a little bit on the edge of the seat there.
Yeah, but if we do take a look at Piglord HD, while we are on the subject of him, he does have that fully stacked Seraphs, and he's 1 stack off a fully completed row, so this Cassian, he's reached that point where he's starting to get pretty spooky.
Yeah, we're getting to that 25-minute mark where Vayne, where Cassidy, where Tryndamere are going to start being a lot stronger and be able to pull off some of these plays that they've been trying to execute and just haven't been able to. But you saw the press of momentum there from Apes Together Strong. They were able to take that in-hit tower on the top side finally, and that gives them a lot more room to work on the bot side of the map, as we're going to see Toasty Crayon fighting for some vision over here. They're trying to get a little bit of a pincer maneuver going in on the side of ATS, but not going to see anything just yet. Dragon is going to be spawning in 10 seconds, and as I said before, I expect a fight.
There has to be a fight. You can't give over this Ocean Soul for free here if you're the one-man dancing squad. Garda, he's going to be clearing out that warp, but has to be careful because this is a very squishy Nami. It's a little nice knockup.
Yeah, it's starting to shape up here as Depression is down the backside. He's looking to actually just go in here. That's going to be the leap of faith. Prime target right there, as that's going to be the engage coming through from ATS as they're picking apart the fight. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody down, but Pigs forward, who's going to try and potentially get a steel heal here. Or just going for the blow up. Didn't even get that. Is just going to be blown up himself. And that is a clean ace coming through for an ATS, and a way for them to put their mark on game number 1.
Yeah, Apes Together Strong, they pick up that soul, they pick up the ace, losing nothing for it, and it's starting to really show the glaring weakness of this one-man dance party comp, because no one was able to really go in there and stomach a lot of that heat coming from all these fed members of the Ape squad, and everybody just blew up. Like, what are you supposed to do into that? And they still have no grievous wounds against all this healing coming out from Depression.
That might be the downfall, my friend. That might be the downfall. It only costs 800 gold, especially for some of these AD members to get a little bit of help. Especially, I'm looking at the Tryndamere. That makes me a little sad.
Yeah.
But hey, you never know. Maybe it's part of an overall game plan. They're going for some challenges or something. As no objectives on the map, which means we're probably going to see ATS push their advantage even more here, and more than likely going to see this mid lane tower be sieged upon here in the next few moments.
Yep, that is probably going to be the end goal here. Or if they want to, I mean, Apes Together Strong, they could just force bot here, and then, of course, just split the map up even harder. Doesn't look like to be the case. Slingshot charged up, got a whiff on that.
Big old whiff, but it doesn't matter. On the Hunt's going to be used. They have the Baron minions. They're going to wipe down those extra minions in the mid lane and look to push the tower here. Looking to take it pretty quickly, as it's going to be Sean's Beard looking for the engage here. Tidal Wave going to be used, going to get the knockup. Nobody's taking the tower. Finally falls. Now Sean's Beard is going to be low. He's going to be taken down by Tryndamere. On the backside, it's going to be the Let's Bounce used, but it's going to be a bunch of damage onto the carries there, as Toasted Crayon finally is able to pick off Frog there with the Ignite. And going to continue this fight is ATS. They did lose Sean's Beard. They still have 4 members strong in the base of one-man dance party.
And this might just be the game here, Lemon, says these towers aren't much longer for this world. Big bubble.
That's a big engage there, but Element is caught right in the middle of it. Piglord doesn't have the damage, doesn't have the stats. Naradra is left waiting and wanting. The big engage is there. That's going to be Toasted Crayon finishing it off with some fireworks as game number 1 goes to ATS.
In a very convincing fashion, and I honestly feel like this was a huge draft diff between these two teams here, Lemons, because there wasn't really anything to hold back this enemy composition from Apes Together Strong. Like, and we kept mentioning ourselves, like, hey, where's the Grievous Wounds? Nobody bought any, and there wasn't really all that much to start off a fight, or even in the form of like just any hard CC whatsoever. So I'm hoping here for One Man Dance Party, they look at this draft and they go next game saying, hey, all right, maybe we need to shift things up just a little.
Yeah, I think a big change is definitely on the horizon for the draft. My biggest question is now, you banned away the Shen on the top side. Do you ban away the Alawi as well? What does that open up everywhere else? And how does that affect the series for your team for the side of ODP? Is the first iteration did not work out in their favor. They had some bright points, but there was a lot of darker shades for them, unfortunately, as it was all about the scaling. It felt like, but the one thing that was maybe going for them for that mid game spike was the Kane, who really just never got off the ground.
Yeah, like he did a lot of work early. Don't get me wrong here,
He did.
but that was a lot of presence for not a lot of gain because we didn't really see any of those gangs pay off, except for that one huge punish in the bot lane we saw. But aside from that, I mean, there's a couple of visits tops that kind of went a little south, and a couple of visits mid that just resulted in Sean's beard using the troll pull.
Yeah, it was a bit interesting, but we're gonna have to see how One Man Dance Party can pull it back and get their first win in this series. We have ATS going up 1-0 in this best of 5. You're not gonna want to miss game number 2. We'll be right back.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere, I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the Risen Esports Rampage Open Finals. We are in game number 2 here as we're getting through the picks and bans between Apes Together Strong and One Man Dance Party. We have switched sides, so ODP is on the blue side, ATS on the red side. We're going to see these bans coming through here pretty quickly, as has been par for the course in the first side, as we see Nautilus, Alawi, and Zach taken away by ODP, Garen, MF, and waiting on that third ban, which is looking like the Oriana. Ooh, first pick set coming in, changing it up a lot, and I love it.
Yeah, but that leaves open the Shen here for Depression. His name is literally Depression, and yep, there it is. Who'da thunk?
Gotta put it. Who'da thunk it?
Who'da thunk? Who'da knew?
Definitely not us here on the caster desk. Not at all. I didn't even know this man played Shen. No, I'm just joking. He's definitely played Shen a lot. Anyways, Olaf picked up here for ATS, going to pair very, very strongly with the Shen. As you land those long taunts, it gives so much time for those axes to start swinging down on you. And honestly, I really like the set, but now that I see the setup from ATS, it makes me a little bit scared.
Yeah, because Olaf Shen is such a potent combo, and we did see that Olaf banned away last game, so we'll have to see. But speaking about potency we saw last game, there is that Galio locked in that worked out so well for Apes Together Strong. But this time around, One Man Dance Party going to be taking that away.
Yeah, they want to pick it up for themselves this time around, as they also pick up the Kane again, which I thought had a very lackluster performance in last game. So we're going to have to see how that pairs up against the Olaf this time, maybe with different lanes. Maybe it can get a little bit more successful in the earlier parts of the game, because as you had lightened to, there were a lot of ganks early on. They just were not very effective.
Yeah.
If that changes, we see a difference.
We'll have to see, because we have to remember, like, the composition that was locked in for One Man Dance Party last game around was, to put it bluntly, not optimal.
Not optimal indeed. Leona is the pickup here for ATS. Honestly, the CC already just coming out from 2 members, plus the slows coming out from Olaf, is just so frightening after that game number 1. And yes, there is a bit of bias after we saw ATS pretty much smash game number 1, so you definitely lean towards them for the more mechanical outplays. And locking in that Sivir just provides that extra game insurance for themselves.
Yeah, because I was about to remark on this myself here for Apes Together Strong, in that this is a nice lineup they have so far, but for their mid and AD carry, they are going to lock in a decent chunk of damage to help make up for this. And that Sivir will definitely help do that. Not to mention, there is a lot of synergy between Sivir and Olaf, because, I mean, Olaf, he pops the Ragnarok and runs at you. Sivir, she pops the On the Hunt and helps that Olaf run at you. It is a very tried and true combo, to say the least, Lemons.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest downside or the biggest upside for ODP in this situation is definitely that set has a lot of tankier members to engage on. But say you accidentally hit the Olaf, who just might as well hit Ragnarok at the same time, you're just going to go flying off into the distance, and they're going to stay right there in your back line. So that is something you got to be very, very careful of. But I did want to highlight the last bans in this game number 2 here. We did see the Cassiopeia and the Syndra taken away for ODP. Cassidon, Ezreal taken away for ATS. Last picks for ODP were the Tristana and Morgana, which is a very strong duo, very bursty duo for the bot lane. And ATS, go ahead and lock in that Fizz yet again.
That's what I was oohing over. Like, we saw the absolute pain train that was that Fizz. Oh, sorry. Last time around for Sean's Beard, and I don't think it's going to be much different this game. Granted, though, it is likely going against Galio in the mid lane, who is a bit tankier and a bit more adept at dealing with that Fizz compared to the Caston we saw last time around. Granted, that could technically be wrong. It could be Morgana mid. Galio support, we will have to see.
Yeah, and man, these compositions. I love the difference coming out from One Man Dance Party. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I don't, I love the Tristana Morgana. I think you will have a lot of chances, but against the Leona and the Sivir, you really need to be on your points and being able to land those skill shots. Because if you can get the burst damage down onto the Sivir early on, you can get a lot of damage from that Tristana with the pressy attack, which I expect them to go, and that extra amount of damage that comes through. So we'll have to keep our little side eye on the bot lane, but the big focus for me in this game is definitely going to be the top lane. Last game was completely ruled by depression in the top lane. I mean, it cascaded down across the map and affected every single lane. And if that happens again, it's going to be a rough time for ODP.
Yeah. Granted, though, this time around, Shen not nearly as potent as Alawi when it comes to that split push. Don't get me wrong, you still do have some decent split push pressure with the wave clear, and you do always have that stand united, which is so key for Shen's success in that competitive scene. But, of course, you're not going to be pulling out those crazy 1 versus 3s we were seeing last game that was coming out that Alawi from Depression.
Yeah, that allows just nasty stuff. They're going to try their chance with the champion the man is named after this time. Maybe their fortunes will be better. As Sean's Beard on the Fizz against the Galio. I do think Galio will have a bit of a chance early on. But if Sean's Beard can get that roaming like he was last game around, it unlocks so much more for your composition and the composition that ATS have put together for themselves. Not to say that the side of ODP isn't a very roundabout kind of strong composition, especially looking at those objectives. It is going to be a good time for them if they can start catching those fights a little bit off-kiltered for themselves. But then you look at the ATS composition, the ultimates that are going to be coming down in those big moments when you have the stand united, you have all this damage and CC coming at you, they're going to be able to pick apart your team. And the best way to play against that is to really choose your fights correctly and find those engages that maybe ATS isn't seeing.
Yeah, and of course another potential avenue here against this Apes Together strong squad. If you look at them, they don't exactly have the biggest amount of range here. They're basically relying on Sivir for all their range, and that's a 500 auto attack range 80k. Of course, the Boomerang Blade can extend it. Of course, the Boomerang Blade and the Ricochet can extend that. But if they are face to face with a full-on siege, that might be a little problematic here for this Apes Together strong composition.
Indeed. I am a big fan of Tristana. I played a lot of her back in the day. I guess not back in the day, like not long ago. Speaking like I'm old. Anyways, she is so strong. And if you can pick those moments where, yes, you are playing on a knife's edge because you're rocket jumping at an enemy, but if you can pick the right moment to do that, you just blow open the game. I mean, I've seen so many times where Tristanas get ahead and they just carry so hard, and backed up by the composition that they have, it can be a really strong outlet. That's why I was saying we should keep a little side eye on the bot lane. Maybe we see H2O Element being able to take advantage of the blue side to help bot. But again, it is going to be that Shen set matchup. If Frog can get ahead, it will provide a lot of strength in the later game fights, especially around those objectives, when you can use a showstopper to get into the back line or disrupt the team while everybody else is kind of getting hammered on. It's going to be something to watch.
Yeah, for sure. But with that being said, though, we are going to cut to a short break while we get loaded into this game number 2. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low.
Oh, hey there. I didn't see you. Oh, we're back on Summoner's Rift here with game number 2 of the Risen
Alright.
Rampage Open Finals. What is this, Gofrino? No.
All right,
seriously, though,
Mr. Funny Guy. All right. Save it for the toll booth.
The toll booth. Oh my goodness. Come on now. I'm already a boomer, apparently, so hey. Anyways, getting into this game, we don't see any spicy keystones around, and that makes me a little sad. But we do see some spicy champions. And the one I'm keeping my eye on is Kayn. I want to see H2L Element pull something out in this game because game 1 was very, very lackluster for me on this Kayn, and hoping to see a bit of a different play coming out from the blue side performance this time.
Yeah, and I do feel like this time around, the H2 Element is going to have a better time around because he isn't going to be the sole member of his team that's like remotely tanky, so you're going in first. He's going to have the set, he's going to have the Galio, and they're going to be able to tank up a lot more damage than him, so he can always just come up on a bit more of a cleanup crew or just come in just a little bit later after a lot of cooldowns have been blown on Piglord and J-Frog.
Indeed, as the cooldowns are blown, and do see a blue side star, at least bot side star for both junglers, so that means that we're probably going to see some skirmishing going on a bit earlier than last game. This time around, is they're probably both going to head towards the same ganking direction, but we'll have to see how they really want to play that one out. There is a chance that Binks just wants to farm this out and try to get a little bit stronger before going against H2O, but I think that Olaf actually has a pretty good matchup against the skirmish against Kayn early on in the game.
Yeah, because Olaf's early game is just so brutal. Maybe not right now. He does kind of need that mana quite a bit for those trades, but the passive attack speed does, of course, help out that Olaf a ton. Either way, though, we probably won't be seeing that for a little bit here. Like you said, Binks, he might want to back, maybe get that jungle item completed first, or, well, the smite upgrade completed first, I should say, and then start looking for this place. There is the power driver from J-Frog, but nothing too much else coming from it.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to get a bit of damage, provide a little bit of pressure up there, as the Dark Binding is going to land on B&J. As Saza does have my favorite skin ever, so just to throw that one out there.
All right.
That's super important, right?
Sell out.
Sell out. Corporate greed.
Ring, ring. Sorry. Let me answer my HTC phone real quick. Hello. Yes, this is Lemons.
No
Why,
big
yes, I
deal.
would like a sponsorship deal. I am willing
I was
to
gonna say,
sell
if
out.
anybody's watching this that's looking to sponsor today, we got you. We got you. No. So we're gonna see another Dark Binding go a bit wide there, but I like seeing the Dark Bindings go flying early because it sets the precedence for the lane and how it needs to be played by ATS, and it makes them think twice about making a little bit of an overextension. So as you see, it's set up ODP to really have an aggressive front here on the enemy side of the map.
Yeah, and it does make sense because Tristana level 2 is just so nutty. Morgana level 2 is very nutty too because you just land the bind, you plop the soil down. That's just so much damage when you combine that with that explosive charge with a potential rocket jump too. And BNJ, he's been eating a lot of harass from this thanks to the explosive shot passive there, just racking up on him. The black pool just continuously chipping away at him, and then also a few minion autos here and there.
Indeed. As we are going to see the first dragon of the game be the Cloud Dragon. So no Cloud Soul this time around. No Vape Dragon is going to be the Soul. And that means that we do have some very strong points of Souls that we do have possible, especially when you look at these teams. I'm definitely looking at the Ocean Dragon as we're going to see a bit of a gank come through from Binks, but it is an Olaf, and Pig Lord was very close to the tower, so doesn't get very much for it.
Yeah, and still though, it is pressure, and pressure is always welcome. Granted, things showing up, it is going to reveal a lot of information to the enemy. All in the mid lane though, Sean's Beard gonna take a little bit of damage from that, but just forcing out the Pig Lord, letting him know, as the Pig Lord does call him the Cavalry here.
Yeah, it was H2 Element who's looking to get something going for the mid lane, but didn't get anything. And so far, so good on both sides. No kills given over. As we're going to see an expertly spell shielded Dark Binding go through there on the bot side.
Yeah, that is one good thing about this matchup here. Sivir against Morgana. It is so easy to spell shield that
My
point.
goodness.
Yeah, Galio does a lot of damage, especially if he gets that Aftershock off, and especially if he has a full Thorns ring on you at this point in the game. Granted though, Sean's Beard, I mean, he's going to be scaling on this Fizz, so he's going to be getting those natural resistances, and that natural magic resist is going to go a long way against this Galio, who we aren't going to know exactly how he's building yet, since basically all Galios take that Aftershock. We might see a slightly tankier Galio, we might see a 1000 AP one-shot montage Galio, who knows?
Well, I am definitely hoping for the montage there. You know, that's just how things go. And I want to see explosions, and Pig Lord could provide that. But we do see the first dragon started up here. It is going to be started up by the side of ODP, as they are not going to be contested. It's going to be the first one going over to them. And pretty good start, at least in this game for objectives.
That was very close to landing that bind there. And yeah, a great start here. That Cloud Dragon is always appreciated here, especially on the heroic entrance, especially on the showstopper here for J-Frog. So they do have some pretty nice ultimates to get that down with. Here comes Binks.
Yeah, Binks is actually going to get a nice little engage here. Haymaker's going to come out. Depression going on the other side. They are going to be able to have the damage here. Flash forward from Frog. Oh, is he going to go for it? He is. Oh, that's the showstopper. Back into it. But First Blood goes over to the Shen. A return kill going over, though. It's going to be 1-for-1 on the top side. Flash and ultimate were used by Frog.
Yeah, still though, I mean, Depression, he had the Stand United there, and he could have dropped that and maybe made it a 1-for-0. Granted though, First Blood in the end still going over to the side of Apes together strong. It just means they are going to be giving over that turn back kill, and it is going to slow Binks down in the jungle, especially in the farm department, since of course dying, if you take a look right now, H2 Element up 2 camps over his counterpart.
Yeah, that's going to feel pretty good when you're starting off this early on, and definitely think it's going to be the Rast again. Don't expect the Shadow Assassin to come out. You never know though, but I do think the Rast fits a bit more into the composition, especially with what you've kind of lined up for yourself. Now, we have seen a lot of action in the top lane so far, and that's exactly what we were kind of calling for. It has been Frog who's been getting a bit of the upper hand up here. He did go down though to the Olaf after that gank, but he has had the pressure most of the time, and he's been winning most of the trades as well.
Yeah, although Depression, he is doing a good job of dipping and diving through these trees, avoiding a lot of those skills. Granted, though, this lane is going to start sucking for Depression, because if you look, there's already that Bilgewater Cutlass here for J-Frog, and that sustain is just going to be too much for Depression to really keep up with on this Shen as the game goes on. Because when you combine that with the Conqueror, you're not getting through that as Shen. Like, even with a Bramble Vest slash the Thornmail, I don't think it's going to be enough because it'll just be way too much healing coming out from this set.
Way too much healing indeed. And honestly, I'm a bit surprised and honestly happy for the side of ATS that this bot lane has been so even for this entire game so far. And it feels good that you don't have to worry about this oppressive bot lane getting ahead on that side of the map.
The
and you can focus on the rest. As we see, ATS is looking to go in on a pick lord. That's going to be the knockup right back into it. That's going to be a kill going over. Sean P is left to pick it up. He is going to get shot by the tower though, as Fizz picks up a little bit of gold and have a bit of deja vu coming from last game where we saw Fizz get ahead early and he really snowballed the rest of the game.
Yeah, and it is very scary since Sean's beard. Oh, Toasted Crayons. He's kind of hanging there. But yeah, Sean's beard, he can do a lot of work on this Fizz because while the Galio, he is naturally fairly bulky, even if he does go full AP build. I mean, you have to remember that Fizz, he has a lot of base damages himself, and even has that percentage.
Yo, the mechanical outplay here, go for it. We got it. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but holy cow, Depression is just weaving, dip, dive, duck, dodging around Frog there. And yes, he didn't get the kill, but that is scary to know that that is an outplay that is possible.
Yeah, and keep in mind, that also forced out the Showstopper, which is such a huge cooldown, so that is a fairly big pickup here for Depression in this lane right now, because he is going to just be able to heal up with his natural health regen. He has Binks coming up here, too, to apply pressure. Keep in mind, Binks did just recently grab that Rift Herald.
Well, that's going to be the engage there. He's looking for the burst damage on a B&J. The bomb is not going to pick it up, but Rift Herald was picked up here by Binks, as you had highlighted, and is going to be used in the top side to get a bit of gold to the top laner and the jungler, respectively, of ATS.
Oh, Lord, bless me there. There's the Solar Flare.
Solar Flare is going through. Rocket Jump to try and pick up B&J, but it's not enough. Godra has to be careful now. That's going to be the Soul Shackles, but Stand United comes down, and United, they do stand, as that is going to be a nice little pickup there for the bot lane of ATS, and a quick back coming through from Depression.
Oh, and that's now a 2-0 Sivir. Last game around, it was Toasted Crayons picking up all the kills, but now this time around, 2 kills on this Sivir. Take a look at the gold. 3,400 in the bank right now. That should be enough to go back, pick up the Essence Reaver, and still have enough to pick up an extra potion or 2.
Yeah, I definitely saw what Saza was trying to do there, but it definitely feels like every solo queue moment ever for Tristana. Meanwhile, we're going to see Piglord get engaged on yet again here. Taunt does land. Is Piglord going to be able to get out of there? Doesn't have the dash because he's just going to go right into the enemy, just like he did there. And again, Binks, it just seems like they've honed this edge in game number 2, Gofrino, because they're giving the kills to the right members. They're right where they need to be, and they're 5 kills up right now.
Yeah, and this Fizz, we all know what happens to Assassin that snowballs in League of Legends here, Lemons. Like, once you start getting the kills, they kind of don't stop coming. This is a Dragon startup here with how low Binks is, and that was a Flash Force out, but the teleport coming out from Depression.
There's the engage. Zenith Blade is going to land onto Garadra on the other side of the fight, though. You're going to see the Dragon going to be finished here as H2 Element's going to get engaged on. It goes over to Binks calmly but simply, as H2 Element actually did get out of there, though, so didn't have to sacrifice his life at least, but that is 1 objective, 2 in total, going over to ATS now.
Yep, and everybody grab a big drink of Mountain Dew Baja Blast because we have the Ocean Dragon this game around, so we'll be quenching a lot of thirst. And similar to the last game as Garoda, looking for the bind. I don't think too much will come of this, though.
Yeah, I think Saza has learned the lesson of the Tristana. Oh goodness, Frog, you're taking so much damage. Frog, use the Haymaker! Dude, oh, that feels so bad. Okay, well, Depression has officially taken control of top lane. There's the stamp. It has been approved. It has been sealed and sent off to the king. And that is just a bad time.
Like, J-Frog, you were under tower. Like, that is the biggest textbook Shen play there. Oh, you're under tower? I'm gonna taunt you, so I have this tower autoing you. Like, that is laning versus Shen 101. I can't stress this enough as Piglord. I have to be careful here as Binks, I mean, call it deja vu, but he's coming from topside and looking for a gank, only being stopped by that one ward.
Yeah, that would have been the third time. Third time's a charm, I guess. Every time's a charm when you're ganking mid lane, apparently. Is now we're going to actually see the reverse side of it. Sean's Beard is going to have to flash out of there and get to safety. But now this bot lane is going to be the eye of focus here, as top lane is going to be still pretty volatile, but with another dragon in 3 minutes, we will start seeing more fights around that time. But until then, these junglers are going to need to farm up a little bit and try and get a little bit more into their pockets here, so they can actually be even more effective. While Frog is taking another fight up here on the top side, that's just going to be depression getting blowed up. And I am sorry, bring back the letter from the king, rip it up, throw it in the fire, because it is back to as I said a second ago, a very volatile top.
Yeah, because J-Frog, he now has a fully complete Blade the Ruined King. 12% current. Oh, there's the rocket jump, though.
Yeah, rocket jump, as well as the hero's entrance going to go through. Soul Shackles is going to land, as well as the Dark Binding. Here comes the re-engage there. Solar Flare going to be used. Here comes On the Hunt. Saza needs to be careful. Rocket jumping over the wall. Now it's Piglord looking to run for his life. On the Hunt still available. That's going to be Piglord getting very close. That's him going down. Now Saza getting very low. This could just be everything for the side of ATS, as they're going to get the kills left and right and center as bot lane gets exploded off the map. Meanwhile, topside is actually getting some good pressure, but you aren't able to get anything worthwhile up there.
Yeah, but that was still first tower picked up here for the one-man dance party squad, so that is something for their name, and Russian has to be careful here. There is still technically the H2 element in the rough vicinity, so he might get 2 versus 1 here, and I wanted to point this out because that completed Blade the Rune King right now for J-Frog. Oh, never mind. Okay. Never mind.
Trying.
Never mind. Never mind. Okay, yeah.
Never mind. Never mind.
Never mind. Never mind. All right, we see the never mind coming out.
The seagulls from Finding Nemo.
Mine. Yeah, but this complete the Blade of the Rune King right now for J-Frog, that is just so much damage on the set against this Shen, who's only really itemized health in a single cloth armor right now. So J-Frog, he's going to be absolutely cutting through his health bar, and we saw it in that 1 versus 1, and Depression has to play this a lot more carefully now. Thankfully for him, J-Frog is fairly squishy. Ooh, H2 element. Here comes that Kane, but gonna run out the wall running juice before he can get the drop.
Yeah, we do see Binks coming in here. He's all alone. Teammates now coming in with Stand United. Frog's gonna have to be real careful. That's a nice haymaker, but left all alone in the soggy river was that poor Set, who just gets taken out immediately. Then that sets them up to be able to take that Rift Herald, which will be a nice chunk of change to somebody on the map. It is ODP who are able to push this bot side, though, and are able to get a good amount of damage. It does look like they're going to be able to take this with the Tristana, who's actually now just going to go in on the B&J. Took a good shot from the tower. Now it's going to be Garaja. Is this going to be the outplay here? That's going to be the Buster shot. Not enough to pick it up, and
Here's
ODP is in some serious trouble here. You can't stay here, as it is no safe place. It's no longer Kansas, go for Eno.
Yeah, this is Risen Rampage right now, and stuff that works in Kansas doesn't exactly work here in the online environment, to say the least, as it looks like this dragon is not going to be long for this world with all these members here. Think's going to get jumped on here, going to get a little slowed up, but just going to walk past this H2 element.
So that's the second game that we've seen Sean's Beard just be a menace in the roams and be all over. He's been bot lane at the exact moment he needed to be bot lane over and over again. And it is beautiful to watch. A bit disheartening for the side of One Man Dance Party, but so strong coming from the performance from Sean's Beard.
Yeah, because Sean's Beard, he has 380 MS right now, so that is a lot of roaming potential. I'm kind of surprised he didn't take the roaming ultimate, the hunter one that gives you a combat move speed. Still though, I mean, is putting in so much work on this Fizz. 5-0-1. And if you look at it, BNJ 4-0-3 on this server, like, those are the 2 damage dealing carries for this team, for Apes Together Strong, and they have basically all the kills here. That it's a little bit of a nightmare scenario if you're on the one-man dance party squad.
Indeed, and one-man dance party squad does need to figure something out here, and I have a inkling of what that might be for game number 2. It has a word called ban and fizz in it. It's just a random combination, as we're going to see a big engage here coming through. Shoal Sackle is going to land. Toasted Crayons goes down to Saza. Here comes the rocket jump, but On the Hunt was used, so they are able to get out of there, only losing 1 member, and now they are still up about 5k in gold.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the side of one-man dance party. Like, what do they have in terms of winning lanes for it?
Oh, the flash forward, that's gonna be Garadra just eliminated from the map, as Sean's Beard is picking and choosing his meals, and he's picking them right as we're going to see the hero's entrance go in. The return, Stand United right there with him, try to keep him down. That's going to be Saza getting very low, taking a lot of damage. The Ricochet is going to be able to get him. That's going to be the follow-up now onto Depression. It's going to be H2O Element getting taken down by the Sivir, and more gold going to B&J. They are feeling so strong right now.
Yeah,
Forward gonna miss, not able to connect that taunt, but still gets the kill. Depression gonna go down to the tower, but they are able to get the inhib tower.
and maybe even the inhibitor off the back of it. We'll have to see. Death timers are pretty low, and it does look like play it safe is the option here. Like, they already got those 2 towers and all those kills, so just play it safe. And honestly, Lemons, at this point, I feel like one-man dance party, they just need to start looking towards the next game here if they can't pull off a miracle here within the next few minutes, or potentially just steal a huge Baron away. Because, I mean, look at the 7k gold down on the opposition, and what do you have to show for it? Like, none of your lanes are winning right now, except for maybe arguably top, which is, like, kind of even, but I mean, what do you look towards here if you're a one-man dance party to really carry you through?
Yeah, it's starting to look like a serious one-man dance party, as it just hasn't been there for the team collective effort. But I have some pointers, and you know, if somebody from ODP want to reach out to me, you know, I'll give them some pointers on the draft, who to ban. I've seen it from an outside perspective. I can help them out. We definitely need to get rid of Fizz. I think that's the biggest. Yeah, I've already said it like 3 times, but oh my goodness, if you give Sean's Beard Fizz yet again, this series is all but over.
Because, I mean, keep in mind, like, this Galio should be having a somewhat easier time in it just due to his natural tankiness, but still just having trouble, and Piglord opting for the full AP build, it looks like, so he's not going to have that extra magic resist in him. Toasted Crayon going to find H2 Element here with the Zenith.
Yeah, it's going to land the Solar Flare as well. That's going to be the Dark Binding coming over the wall, but not going to be able to save his life. Sean's Beard is able to help with another one there. Flash forward, Zenith Blade going to land yet again. Piglord going to go down next. As now it's going to be Saza. Does still have the rocket jump at some point, but is going to get very, very low. Luckily, you still have Garadra right there landing those beautiful, beautiful Dark Bindings. Now you have Frog down here as well. Zenith Blade going to land. Toasted Crayons is on point with that. Here comes the Showstopper. You got to think, as not even going to be used, as the Haymaker was the last thing that Set had on his mind. And they are just taking everything right now, GoFrino. There are 4 members on the bot side. You have Shen across the map with the Stand United available, with the TP available. They just have everything, and they're eating the cake too.
Yeah, like, I mean, 7-0-5 on the Fizz, 6-0-7 on the Sivir. Like, I don't know how much more clear you can make it here, as there is the rocket jump.
Getting dropped on there. He's going to be taken down. That's a shutdown going over to Piglord. Beautiful rocket jump is going to buy a little bit of time. Meanwhile, on the top side, Sean Spear picking up another kill. Here comes the Dark Binding, now going to land as well. AP is doing a lot of damage. Banks is there as well. Solar Flare landed onto Garadra. Here comes the beautiful hero's entrance. Is not going to save the day, though, as that is no hero indeed, as he goes down, and unfortunately Garadra and Frog are the only ones left on the map, and you have a free pushing Fizz on the top side.
Yeah, and I mean, that was trying to make the best of a worse situation there for one-man dance party. still though, it falls flat with depression.
All right, depression.
Speaking
We've
of
seen enough.
depression,
They have friends. They have family. What are you doing during this time? Why are you doing this to these people?
he's like, "Omae wa mo shinderu," or something. I don't know.
Nobody's been really responding to this Fizz, who's now pushing the inhib tower. Still very confident, as you can tell, as he's still going to try to get out of there. That is going to be H2O using Umbral Trespass, but going to get re-engaged upon, as Chum the Waters was used as well. Going to not get a bunch of damage down, actually. And Depression is not available besides the TP, so they're going to have to play a little bit safer here.
Yeah, still though, I mean, it looked like that Fizz was caught out, but Sean's Beard just so slippery with the Playful Trickster, with the Protobelt, just able to get so far out, and then just throwing out the Chum of the Waters just to be sure, because Saza, he couldn't walk up and try and even contest that with that Chum of the Waters on him, because if you walk up with that, I mean, Sean's Beard just goes, oh, hello, extra kill, and picks you on up. I mean, with how things are going, Sean's Beard, I mean, he could just fill out his Mage Eyes right now, just build that Dark Seal into a Mage Eyes and just go, yeah, it's like a free Rabadons.
Free Rabadons. I love the sound of that. As H2O is going to be trying to get a bit of vision. War going on here in the top side, but now you have all 4 members floating this way. Sean's Beard is not there. Doesn't have TP either, so they've changed up the setup a little bit, but I can expect Sean's Beard to be heading down this way immediately, as there's still 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the next dragon. It is Apes Together Strong who are on Stole Point, so you can expect them to have a heavy focus on that going into the next few minutes. But here, they're looking to focus on some kills. As On the Hunt's going to be used. Flash 4 trying to get the Soul Shackle. That's going to be the Ragnarok used on the Showstopper. That's exactly the thing we were pointing out at the beginning of the game. And this is going to be all she wrote in that fight for the side of One Man Dance Party. As they just get wiped off of Summoner's Rift. They do have Piglord available, but so many things went wrong for them in that fight.
Yeah, and Apes Together Strong. They're just looking, I mean, no pun intended, but so strong together. Like, what do you do there? Because Garadra, he goes in, flashes in, just insta dies before he can even press ultimate.
I gotta give him the benefit of the doubt. He tried to get that Soul Shackle off.
That's a surrender.
Like we're gonna get a surrender here, folks. So that's gonna be a quick end to game number 2. And Apes Together Strong starting off on the right foot, going 2-0 in dominating fashions for both games. And we didn't get to see game 2 play out fully, but you could kind of know where it's heading, at least, Go Frito.
Yeah, and oh my god, like, One Man Dance Party, they fixed up the draft a lot this game, but it just feels like they got more things to answer. Like, you said it well yourself, Lemons. Like, Sean's Beard, quit giving him the Fizz. Like, just flat out, cold turkey. Stop it. It's not working out. You're not countering it. Just take it off the board. Take one less thing for your team to worry off the board.
I'm going to give you 3 bans right off the top of my head, and I know they're going to be successful. You ban away the Shen, you ban away the Alawi, and then you ban away that freaking Fizz, and you have a chance at winning this series. You have a chance at coming back in reverse sweeping. But from the performances that we've seen in game 1 and 2, it is not there. And Apes Together Strong have been so strong, and they are just showing up in the finals in the best way that they can.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, like, even if you ban away those picks, look at the other picks here for Apes Together Strong. 5-1 on the Olaf, 7-1 on the Sivir, 1-2-11 on the Leona. Like, that is just so many other power picks that you have to deal with here as One Man Dance Party. And I mean, things not looking good for them going into this game number 3, but I'm always a man willing to take surprises, and I want to see how One Man Dance Party decides to adapt to this and maybe try for a chance back into the series.
Go Frino, I am so ready for a 5-game series. I want to see the reverse sweep. I believe in the One Man Dance Party. That Garen's got all the fight left in him, and I want to see it displayed to me on Summoner's Rift as we have prime time here, potentially for a reverse sweep. But we'll have to see on the other side of this break. Is it going to be Apes Together Strong who claim the Rampage Open trophy, or are we going to get to see some more games tonight? Be right back here in just a few moments.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Could potentially be the last hurrah here. If Apes Together Strong are able to pull out this game number 3, they will take a quick 3-0 in the Rampage Open Finals. But ODP are standing in their way. Are they going to be able to come back and make this a reverse sweep to remember? Or is it going to end right here? We are already plowing through the picks and bans here. For ATS, we do see the Garen, Misfortune, Oriana taken away on the side of ODP. We see the Olaf, the Alawi, and I skipped over the Fizz because I got to say, just round of applause here. ODP taking off Sean Spears' Fizz. I think it's the best call of the series.
No, wait, what?
Ooh, I take it back. There's a lot of takebacks in this series here. Go for it. I don't know about
what?
As it was Galio as the first pick there for ATS, though, continuing with the strong pick in that they did perform so well on in game number 1 as well. Now, the Nunu, as you had highlighted with the question mark pings, was the first pick there for ODP. Don't know exactly what their plan is. Well, I'm sure we'll start to get a feeling of what they are going for as we get further into the picks and bans here. But Lulu is the second pickup for you.
Okay. There's one singular ranked game of Nunu in H2 Elements match history, so...
Was it a win, my friend? Was it a win?
Yeah, it was a win, so 100%
hey, 100% win rate, whatever. Hey!
Still, though, this Nunu just caught me wide off guard here from the ODP squad, since when we're doing our research on these two rosters, I mean, Nunu wasn't anywhere on the radar for either of these junglers, and here it is, just instantly locked in that first round here for the one-man dance party. So let's see what work we can be put out on it, because if you're locking it in that early, that quickly, you got to be confident on it.
You do, and we are getting through the rest of the picks and bans here. You saw the Ezreal Kog'Maw taken off in the second phase of bans for ATS, Cassiopeia and Syndra taken away on the side of ODP. We did see the Shen Zac locked in there for ATS as well, and the Mordekaiser was the last pick for ODP in the first phase. Then the second phase came around. We saw the Echo picked up here for ODP. Siffer again picked up for ATS, and they have just been getting everything they want in these drafts. And we're going to see a very similar draft setup here from game number 1, where it was a very heavy dominance there from them, and we're able to kind of just spring rocket themselves forward. We do see the Lucian as the final pick for ODP, but they have a lot of AP on their side here. Go Frino.
Yeah, and Lucian Lulu, like, that's not a typical bot lane duo you see. Granted, though, I mean, the Lulu giving that extra movement speed to the Lucian, giving that wild growth to the Lucian, it is always helpful, and it's definitely by no means an awful combo. It's just a very untraditional combo, to say the least, and I'm curious to see how ODP pilots this, as I've never seen it, so I'm willing to open my eyes to the light of Lucian Lulu if this does perform here.
Indeed, and I mean, maybe there's some hidden synergies that we don't know, as our experience might not be up to par there. No, I do think there is some underlying strengths to their team composition. I think there are some heavy weaknesses, though. And then when you look across the board and you see the round composition that ATS have put together and how consistent they've been in every game so far, it does not get your hopes high for ODP. I still think that we're going to go to game 5. We're going to be here all night, go Frino, and that's all I can dream about. But it is going to be up to the play on the Rift and how ODP can come together in this series, because they just have not been on the same page. And I'm especially looking at H2O Element, who has had very lackluster performances on the Kayn. I want to see him pick up the pace. I want to see him be more active and effective in his ganks on this Nunu.
Yeah, because he was active in the previous 2 games on the Kayn. It's just, I mean, early game ganks are just like, oh, howdy ho, stranger. Here's a 40% slow. Oh, no, you got away. Back to the jungle for me. Then you finally evolve, and then you're like, all right, now we can go. But by the time we saw that in the previous 2 games, his team was already very far behind. So this is a move. Nunu, sorry, not a Mumu, gonna be able to do a lot more of those early ganks thanks to the world's biggest snowball.
World's biggest snowball. I love it. And I hope to see it be a big impact in this. But on when you look at the composition for ATS, you see a lot of things that we've already seen and a lot of things that performed beautifully already in this series, which means if you go off history, it feels pretty good when you're looking at that composition. And especially Binks on this Zac was so effective in game number 1, especially focusing around B and J and Toasted Crayons on the bot side, really just able to get them ahead after everything was kind of going swimmingly on the top side of the map. And if they can get that pulled off again here, their composition is just going to lead them to victory in this championship.
Yeah, and of course, on the other side for One Man Dance Party, this is a completely new composition with 5 unique picks in this entire series here, Lemon. So ODP, they know like this is their make or break game. Nothing they've done in the previous 2 games has really been sticking to the wall. So why not just go for complete scramble and see if that works? If not, maybe they'll just be going out in a blaze of glory in this game number 3. But there is, of course, always the potential of, hey, with trying out this many new things, one of them's likely to stick, and that thing that does stick, it might be what gets you back into this series.
Yeah, that one thing could be the catalyst into the rest of the series, as you mentioned. And looking at any one of these picks, I just need somebody to pop off on something here and give us a performance that is worthy of the finals, as we haven't seen a big amount of engage and like decision making coming through from ODP. I do expect that to change this time around because you do have a lot of strength in the objectives, and I think that's one of the biggest parts that's been kind of lacking from ODP is the fact that they haven't been able to confidently go for these objectives, and it's just put them in a hole every time. Yes, they were able to get a couple objectives for themselves, but it wasn't anything noticeable, and it wasn't anything that continued to grow into a lead for themselves. So I hope to see a little bit more execution around those objectives, especially those dragons. I want to see Nunu being able to pick up this soul, and I want to see them take this series.
Yeah, because, I mean, this is do or die at this point, and this is potentially a final game here for this current season of the Risen Esports Rampage Open. So, I mean, One Man Dance Party, you gotta pull out all the stops this game and see if anything works. But on the other end, I mean, Apes together strong, they've just been looking so strong this series.
Yeah.
And they've just been getting so many of the picks that work for them. They got the Zac, that worked out so well for them in game number 1. The Shen worked out pretty damn solidly in game number 2. Then, of course, Sivir, Galio. These are 2 picks in the bot lane that have just been consistently strong for these 2 people this entire series long.
Indeed. But as you all know, we're going to be heading to a small little break here. On the other side, there going to be more dance parties for this one man? Or are the Apes going to come together strong and finish out this championship run? We'll have to see. Be right back here in just a few moments.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous but it's so fun.
We are back and on to Summoner's Rift here as we get to see the most important game in this series so far, as it is going to be either ATS taking the trophy home or it's going to lead to a game number 4 where we could see ODP come back in a 3-0 reverse sweep. We do see a bit of shenanigans being played on the board here by ODP, but I don't believe anything's going to come of it.
Yeah, and
They have such a good angle on
oh my
Frog
god,
right now.
Gardora, H2 element, please go for the. Like, you have to consume. You can try something a little spicy for a potential 3 buff here. But
They just, it makes me so sad, go for it, because they have such a good angle on Frog right there where they could, like, if they had known that maybe he was there, they could just collapse on him and maybe get first blood, and that would be how they try and get themselves this championship here. But they don't know, so they don't see it. I just have overlooking eyes, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, granted, they don't exactly have this beautiful 2020 vision that we have with this observer
big deal.
camera that is provided by the one and only Caddy. If everyone in Twitch chat could give him a warm thank you for providing this stream tonight.
Yeah, it has been awesome. A+ in production, and always a pleasure to cast with him as well. As we're gonna see again bot side starts from these junglers both, and more than likely gonna see some early fights towards that top side or mid lane.
Yeah, and I mean, keep your eyes on Binks here, because we've seen what he can pull off on the Zac, but of course also look at the H2 element, because we saw how many ganks he's pulling off.
Oh my goodness, Frog. You're taking a lot of damage there, buddy, but you're also doing a lot of damage. They gotta be real careful, though, as that's gonna be the return. Oh no, Frog. Oh no, Frog. Oh no, Frog. That's first blood. Going over to Depression, able to pick up a nice sack of early gold for himself, and not the play you want to see coming out from Frog.
Yeah, and I mean, Depression is probably just in comms right now to his team saying top die, because what else do you really say about that? JV Frog, like, don't get me wrong, he was doing very well in that trade, but the minion damage was just racking up too much, and by the time he flashed out, it's kind of a bit too late. Todd lands in the bot lane, Saza.
Level
Turn
2
fire.
comes through, both sides attaining it, and trade actually goes in favor of Saza there. And to get a little bit more out of it for himself. Here comes the gank from Binks. We said in the mid lane, could be a possibility. Is not going to burn anything from the side of Piglord, though. So gank unsuccessful this time for Binks.
Yeah, and you kind of want that Zac to have an extra level or two in that elastic slingshot to really get those ganks off, since we saw it there where he was close but no cigar, and close but no cigar isn't usually what you want as a jungler. You'll want to be getting something, whether it be summoners, whether it be lane prio, tempo, or even a kill. Who knows? It is a wild and wacky adventure, and nothing really coming out of that gank for Binks, sadly, but if the rest of the series is anything to go off of, that is just a mild slip up, and we can expect a better, brighter future for any potential Zach ganks.
Indeed, and just go back on what you're saying. The boomer in me says close only works in horseshoes and hand grenades, my friend. So we are definitely not playing those games. Although sometimes you can expect that some Rampage is definitely a hand grenade in a basket or something. But hey, we love it. We love to see the action. We're going to see even more coming up here as we see a gank finally coming through. Not going to be able to land the biggest snowball ever, as Saza is going to look for the trade. Heal is going to be used by B&J, though.
Yeah, and Saza just showing up dominant on the solution, which is rather expected, especially into the Siffer, who has a bit of troubles early on in the lane. Kind of weak stats. You only have that 500 range. You don't exactly have a ton of attack speed, especially since you don't have the ricochet attack speed activation from the On the Hunt passive quite yet. So just really bullying out the Siffer, especially with the help of that Lulu, with the help of that Airy poke. So nothing too surprising here in the bot lane, but props to Saza and Goradra, because they've been trying the rest of this series, but game number one.
No. Frog, yeah, be real careful, my friend. Now it's on the other side, though. The minions are doing so much damage to Depression, but here comes Binks. And Depression getting put ahead yet again. And now, what does that mean? We're going to see a rinse and repeat of game number 1 and 2. Depression gets ahead in the top lane. It all snowballs to the rest of the map.
Yeah, and honestly, Depression, change your name to Shen and Tonin, because you gotta be feeling pretty happy with how this series has been going.
You really do. I mean, first, the excellent performance on the Alawi, where you were literally 1v3ing people, and to 2 back-to-back performances on the Shen that you've gotten ahead early, and you've been able to help the rest of your team. So as soon as that Stand United comes in, those plays are going to be coming across the board, and it's going to be feeling real good from ATS. Now, on the other side, though, you do have this bot side for ODP, who is ahead in CS, does have the potential to be able to get out of lane ahead, and could possibly be the namesake here for ODP going into this game number 3.
Yeah, because Soza, very prime position right now. With his advantage, he's fished up in lane. That is a full tower plate and basically 2 entire waves up on his opponent. It's going to be even up a little by B&J here with his current wave crashing into tower, but still, that is going to be noticeable lead, and we'll have to see what path the solution goes. It looks like it's going to be for that Essence Reaver, not going for the Blade the Ruin King, which gives you that insane 1 versus 1 potential, but the Essence Reaver does, of course, give you a lot more in those team fights. What with the CDR, letting him be able to use your passive that much more, being able to dash around that much more, and the mana sustain is really huge in lanes that you are winning, because you can continuously use your Piercing Light on the wave, then just auto, help yourself get back up to full mana, and just shove in the Sever to her tower continuously.
Indeed. And meanwhile, Pig Lord trying to get something going in the mid lane, does get a nice little chrono break there for himself. That biggest snowball ever is going to land, but that's the Stand United that we were talking about. Luckily, H2O is going to be executed by the tower there. Now we're going to see Depression getting in a nice little tussle with Frog in the top side, but 2-0 start here for ATS.
Oh,
we might see more.
Going.
Ooh, gonna get polymorphed nicely though. That's a dash in by Saza, who's looking for the kill, not able to get it on B&J, but able to put some serious hurt onto the members of the bot side for ATS. And again, that is my focus here for the side of One Man Dance Party. They've got to get that bot lane into the game, and so far it's working out for them in a way, as they've gotten a decent amount of gold in their pockets, at least in the support and ADC position.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing to point out is, take a look at the mid lane here. Oh, never mind that. Binks coming to visit the top lane. JFrog going to be able to get out with that flash, but if we turn our attention here to the mid lane in Lemons, Pigler, he actually has an advantage in this lane, a very sizable CS lead at over 2 waves his counterpart. So looking to bully it out, as that is the stun.
Yeah, that's going to be the combo, but he's taking so many shots from the tower. Meanwhile, the dragon goes over to the side of One Man Dance Party.
Oh my
goodness. What do we even say there? Flash forward with the Rift Walk at the same time. There's just no predicting that. Pig Lord gets wiped.
Oh my god, and If you want the definition of cast a curse lemons, well, look at what just happened to me. Oh yeah, Pigler, he's finally going hard in lane. He's winning lane. Up 2 waves. Then right after that, Sean's Butte gets a solo kill. Now that's a 1-0 cast, and he's not even messing around this game. He's not going for the tier, just going straight for the row of recognizing, hey, I want to come online early, and we outscale anyways with the Cassin, with the Sever, so you don't really need all that extra mana. Still though, we'll have to see, because this is still an early game Cassin fight in the bot lane.
Yeah, Saza's going to get a lot of damage. That's the culling coming through right onto B&J, who's not going to be taken down just yet. Flash forward coming on to Saza, who gets taken out by the tower. That's going to be gold given over to B&J. As a bit of an overextension there from Saza, just looking to pick up that kill. Ends up getting 1 for 1, and now the ADCs are pretty much tied in gold.
Yeah, and I don't exactly like that all-in from Saza. Well, under the tower, like, they could have just backed off there. B&J, he was super low. He would have been forced to back off. Here comes the world's biggest snowball in the mid lane, though.
Yeah, it's not going to connect there. They do get the Rift Herald down, not going to get a charge off. They might get Big Lord here, as that is also going to be the absolute zero used. The fight's actually going in favor here. The Bloblets come out, as Sean's Beard's got to be real careful. Here comes the TP, though. That's a beautiful time ability coming through, as it's actually going to be stopped at the last second, but it did enough to save Binks.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out with the difference between this and game number 1. In game number 1, as far as I can tell, Binks never had to use that Zac passive the entire game. Like,
no.
He was literally just not using a part of his kit, and they still hard stomped that game. Saza, please back here. Please back here.
Please stop back. Oh, that's going to be it.
Saza, why?
It just feels so bad. And yes, I know that we can see the enemy, but man, there's just gotta be something.
Like, please, just know to take the L when you do, Saza. Like, just be the bigger man and go, alright, I know I'm low health. I'm just gonna back here. Just gonna, you know,
it was so
let them get a little bit of CS back. Like, come on. You're winning lane.
It was so close here. I mean, the lead was, it still is, only within 1.5k, but you just feel like the hope has just been sucked out here by ODP. They were doing so well on the bot side. They were getting leads for themselves. Saza was looking good, and then a couple of overextensions turning into a walk into a bush where you just get exploded by a Galio. It just drains every little bit of happiness, I guess, out of the side of ODP. And I really hope that for their sake, they can come back into this game, because, as I said, I know I like yelling over things, but I would love this story come true.
Yeah, like, they were winning mid lane, they were winning bot lane, but just like that, they just kind of throw it a little there. It's by no means snowballed out of control yet, only 1k separating these two teams, but still, like, but ODP, what are you doing here? I'm at a bit of a loss for words. Like, is this just end of the game nerves here? Are you just worried, like, oh man, we have to make the big plays here, or we're gonna lose the series? Or is it just a case of maybe making slightly wrong decisions? Gondra, here he comes.
Parallel Convergence goes down, does not get the stun. Now the return onto the rest of them. Cullen's going to be used, but doesn't really get anything. But that's going to be the Chrono Break coming through clutch for Pig Lord. They are on the board. It is 5-2 now, and the lead has shrunken to less than 500.
Yeah, and that was a very big pickup in the bot lane, because it looked like they wore out Toasted Crayons with the Aftershock, being able to tank up so much damage. But Pig Lord, that beautiful Chrono Break, just to go back and catch those two members off guard, just saying, howdy ho, stranger, as he just absolutely demolishes them. That is a huge pickup.
Depression does so much damage this early on. Look at these shots! Frog has to be real careful. Death Run's going to be popped here.
Here's Nunu.
Yeah, biggest snowball ever is going to land on Sean's Beard. He's going to try and get out of there. Does land right into the Parallel Convergence. Here comes the hero's entrance, though. Gonna save here. Zac as well. That's going to be the outplay coming through. And it is who survives? Sean's Beard survives. Go for Reno.
And that's the thing about playing against a Galio Shen comp. You're like, haha, it's a 2 versus 1. Then the ultimates come in and you're like, alright, maybe worth a man disadvantage this time around, as it's all of a sudden a 3 versus 2. Pig Lord, H2 Element, both dropping there. This is going to be a lot of damage on this mid tower. Going to be taking it down 2 plates already, maybe potentially even more. We'll have to see, but it looks like backing off is going to be the call here from this Apes Together Strong composition.
And it's just so, as you were saying, you just start counting on your fingers, like, okay, it's a 1v1, I'm good, okay, 2v1, okay, 3v1, oh god, 4v1, oh man, I'm gone. And then there goes everything else on the map, and here potentially goes the first dragon to go over to the side of Apes Together Strong, as they're looking at this Cloud Dragon with a bit of hunger. They are able to pick that one down for themselves. Oh no, Saza, you're going to be in some trouble here. Taunt goes over the wall. Here goes on the hunt, though. The damage is there. Here goes Piglord on the backside. Going to get a beautiful stun there as well, as the damage is going in the favor of ODP. And they are on a comeback spree here as a flash comes out for B&J, trying to make sure he can get out of there. Piglord still looking to chase, though. Does have the angle on Sean's Beard. Flash forward. Here comes the Rift Walk. Isn't going to be able to get him out of there, or the slow is going to be enough. Sean's Beard waiting, wishing. And he does finally get out. B&J put himself in a bad position now, though. He actually spell shields that greatest snowball ever, biggest snowball ever, as H2O is going to be dropped by those tower shots. And oh my goodness, those tower hits are doing so much to that Nunu.
Yeah, because this Nunu hasn't itemized any resist yet, only sitting on that Cinder Hulk and didn't even pop the Aftershock there. Still, though, I mean, that is the ODP squad. They are taking the W in that fight. 2 kills for themselves, 2 very key kills to say the least, and it is going to give them more pressure.
Yeah, and all of a sudden we see one-man dance party in the lead for gold here. Not by a lot, but it is a change in the story for us Goferinos. It has not been the case at all in this series so far, and finally we get to see them put their best foot forward, and in this game number 3 are actually showing up pretty heavily. Yeah, Binks is going to be right there, though. Frog's got to be real careful. That's just going to be a dead Mordekaiser. As I speak on it, Caster Curse strikes again.
Yeah, this Mordekaiser 0-3-0, like, no impact on the game whatsoever, except for, I mean, technically absorbing gank pressure from Binks there. Still, though, there's the all-in.
Right in there. Wild Growth is going to be used. TP coming down as well. That's going to be casted. Joining the fight. Saza's walking straight into Binks there, as now he's going to get engaged onto Sean's Beard, able to pick that one up, and that is going to be another engage. Toasted Crayon's going to be able to get a double taunt. Here comes Parallel Convergence, though. Is going to get a nice double stun. Stand United finally comes through onto Sean's Beard, who is going to be able to get out of there. Does need to be very, very careful, though. You're still facing an Echo, who will go over the wall. That's a flash. That's Rift Walk right in return, though. Looking to continue, though. Piglord looking to put the team on his back, though, as he is going to be dropped. That's going to be the Chrono Break coming through to save his life. Now
B&J.
Oh no, overextension there, but now it's Frog who's arrived. This is just chaos across the rift as Frog is able to pick up a kill on the B&J. That is also going to be the return. Lulu going down to B&J as well. Here comes the Hero's Entrance. Big old knockup coming through, and now it's a 4v1. Death Realm is used on the Toasted Crayons. And he's going to go golden to buy some time. That Death Realm is gone. That is so much damage coming out. Saza's now in the back line. He's actually got a bunch too, but he's all by his lonesome. Going to be taken out by the tanky members here. And that is a very long but very satisfying ace for Apes Together Strong.
And pardon my French, but what the frick just happened there? Like, that was a solid minute of team fighting, and Lemons, my condolences to your vocal cords there.
Pourquoi tu parles en français?
Oi, oi, oi.
Is that all you got for me? I thought we were going to keep going, but you're already speaking such good French.
I don't know French outside of oi, 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 and we will le baguette.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi, oi. Still, though, I mean,
did you not watch Dexter's Laboratory? Come on.
Omelette au fromage. It's actually omelette au fromage. My French friend is super tilted from it whenever someone says omelette du fromage. Like, he would actually kick people from a Discord server if they said omelette du fromage instead of omelette au fromage. Going back to that fight, though, I mean, that was a huge W coming out for the side of Apes Together Strong.
Indeed. I just think that it was such a long and drawn-out fight, but the communication was there constantly for Apes Together Strong, and that's something we haven't seen coming out from ODP just yet. And it has definitely been their downfall in this series so far. And now we see them at a very, very large, or not very, very large gold lead, but a good gold lead here for ATS. where they were actually not in the driver's seat a few moments ago. So that fight definitely turned it around for them, and especially the cross map plays coming out from Depression has been so pivotal. But Binks is that driving force for this team, it feels like.
Yeah, and Binks, he's just been such a star player this entire series. There's the Colin coming up, like, gonna be a bit more of a cuddling there. But yeah, Lemon, I mean, Binks, he's just been on point this entire series, able to apply pressure across the map, even in his game number 3. Gonna miss there from Toasted Crayons. Zaza, he's gonna eat that.
Wild Growth going to be used on, and B&J's got to be real careful. Here comes the re-engage, though. Let's bounce on the backside. Binks is taking down Sazu, who's still healing, though. That's going to be Echo being able to pick off the Sivir. That's a beautiful chrono break coming back into the fight, and it's going to be Piglord who actually carries this fight on his back. He is able to try and take down Binks. He's taking a couple too many tower shots. Now Saza is trying his hand at this, but he's going to be start taking the tower. Bloblets are popped. They're going to all converge to try to pick this up. Piglord gets shut down, though. What is going on?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Saza, you got to be careful. No, Depression's going to be there. He's got a bunch of damage. Is he going to be able to pick up Saza? There's too much kite going on, though. He's actually going to be taken down. And what is this? Saza comes out on top.
Saza, please die, is what the Apes Together Strong comp is saying, but there's a very firm no coming from the one-man dance party here, as they're going to pick up their second dragon of the game here. They are going to be appreciating that ocean. Plus, I mean, look at the gold right now, Lemons. Only 400 gold between these two teams. Make it technically less with this ocean dragon being picked up and providing some invisible stats, so this, I mean, we might be looking at a potential reverse sweep here. I mean, don't call it a comeback yet. Still, though. Oh, no. And I'm at the top lane again.
Yeah, Frog. Oh, no. The tower shots yet again spell doom for Frog as he gets taken down. And, yeah, the gold swing has been nuts in this game, in this series. But mostly this game, where we've seen it go back and forth over and over again by big margins. And now, as you say, I'm only about a 1k gold lead for ATS.
Yeah, and they are gonna have to be doing a lot more to come back in this game.
Oh my goodness, Goferino. We just got a raid/host from Big League, I believe. We have a ton of people joining us here in these games, and welcome, everyone. And we very much appreciated their XT. Shout out to you, my good sir. And,
yeah, I know you can't see this, but I'm saluting you.
If only we had chaos just going on. Maybe we'd have a little bit more action. No. But seriously, thank you all. Just to get everybody caught up here that is joining us, we have Apes Together Strong versus One Man Dance Party. Both have been 8-1 in the regular season, both taking their semifinals very strongly. But here, it has been ATS who has shown up on the day, taking two very convincing games, as we are now in the third of the series, where it has actually been the most close game of this series, neck and neck the entire way through.
Yeah, and this is honestly anyone's game, and maybe ODP, they finally find their stride in this series of what works. But, I mean, even right now, it's still a fairly even game, so maybe ODP, they still have a bit more to go, and this is still anyone's game. Don't get me wrong. It's just ODP, I'm expecting a little more if they want to take this series.
Indeed, you gotta see everything put onto the Rift for yourselves if you want to take a reverse sweep in this fashion. And honestly, in this game, it's definitely given me a lot more hope. The first two games, not at all. It was definitely all in the quarter of ATS, but this time around, we do get to see a bit of strength coming out. Saza's going to get caught up a little bit. Wild Growth's going to be used on him. Bunch of damage coming down. Saza's going to dash forward. He's taking a tower shot, though. He's got to be real careful. A lot of minions there. The shield comes through from Garadra, and here on the top side, Depression forces out the flash from Frog.
Yeah, and Frog just having such a rough time in this top lane so far. There's the world's biggest snowball, but with how low Frog is, I don't think we're going to see anything. And Element, you have to be careful here, because Depression, he's been pumping out so much damage. There's the taunt!
He gets the kill! He doesn't even care!
Here comes Galio!
Right over top. Oh my goodness. Oh, here in the mid though, it's going to be calling used as well as the Stand United. Here comes Depression. He's looking to affect the rest of the map. Taunt lands on Nasaza. He goes down. Depression is a monster.
Depression just playing around the world in 80 days. Gets that solo kill top lane, then goes, hold on boys, I'm not done yet. Let me just fly in mid lane and help out for yet another kill. 5-1 and 6 on the Shen, showing why he one-tricks it, showing why you should be banning it, but I mean, at this point in the season, it's too late. Like, this is potentially the last game here of the entire Rampage open season.
They aren't even getting... Okay, I thought they were going to walk away from the tower. I was going to get so mad. I was like, you guys don't deserve this anymore. No, Depression is actually going to get caught out here. Does get a nice taunt. Pigglord's getting dropped pretty low. Depression just has so much damage. He does get Wild Growth, so going to get Piglord out of there. But that was a bit too close to call, as it was so close to being Piglord going down. Now we might get to see the re-engage here as we see Frog coming on the backside. The grasp is going to land. Death Realm is going to be used right onto BNJ. The fight is continuing. It's a bit outmanned, outclassed, as that is going to be a big win for Frog, who picks down BNJ, but the rest of the fight is not going their way here, as the big members are still in this. That's going to be the flash forward. Sean Spears picks up a double kill, and I believe the Casa win is online, as he's trying to make a name for himself again in this game, as he's already had a great performance, but he gets blown up by the Echo, who is also putting on a performance of his own, as Piglord is going to score a double kill and looking for more.
Absolute bloodthirst here. Depression and Binks gonna be the only surviving members, and honestly that was so back and forth because it started initially with that mid tower being taken down. Then we just saw so much action after action, but at the end of the day it looks like ODP gonna come out on top, and they're also potentially gonna get this Ocean Dragon and put themselves in soul point. Binks gonna get jumped on.
Yeah, pulling off exactly what an Echo is looking for. Just to zone off Binks a bit so they don't lose this dragon. It is going to be the third dragon secured here for ODP, which means they are on soul point. And if you give this team this Ocean Soul, I believe we're going to be in for a very long game here, Gofrino, as they do have the strength, they do have the pieces to mesh very well with the Ocean Soul.
Yeah, and I mean, even with all of that said, take a look at the goal. It's still in favor of Apes Together Strong, but it's only 2,000 gold separating these two teams, and let's be honest, 26 minutes basically into the game, that's nothing at this point. So, still anybody's game. I know that sounds like a broken record coming out of me, but this game, it's just been so dead even this entire time, and when you compare that to the previous two games this series, Lemons, like, the other two games were just complete stops, and then you look at this one being dead even, maybe you're just looking at this as an ODP fan and going, all right, maybe this is time for the comeback.
They just needed a little bit of rest. They needed to realize where they were, and now they have shown up. They are alive, and we're starting to see some glimpse of light coming out of them. And I love to see it because I know that this team can be strong, and I've seen some pieces from them be very, very willing to put themselves on the line to win the game, but it just hasn't worked out for them so far in this. But this game is looking better than all the others, and it's giving me a bit of hope here for them.
Yeah, because, I mean, for all of you who are just tuning in, because I know a lot of you guys didn't get to see the previous two games of the series, thank you XT once again for the host, but Apes Together Strong, they kind of just hard stomped and Giga Smurfed these previous two games, and this game finally much more even. And a lot of it, I feel, is just down to banning away that Fizz. Even though Sean Spears still 5-2 and 5 on the castle. Oh, hold that thought. Depression in a bit of trouble.
He does get out of there with a nice, quick, clean dash, and is going to survive to tell another tale another day. As it was a good attempt from H2O, but again, Gofrino, I just feel like it's been H2O Element who just hasn't had the most impactful jungle performances so far. And on this Nunu, it feels even worse because you have these big engagements, you have these big moments that just kind of hit her out, and it just doesn't feel great. But here on the bot side, we're going to see a 1v1 between the two mid laners, turning into a 1v2 here. Sean Beard is going to have to get out of there. H2O Element yet again trying to come in. He's looking to go back, and he's all by himself. I don't know what you're doing here, Sean Beard. As you need to be a bit careful on how aggressive you are, and it looks like you're just going to get taken. Oh my goodness, that's the hero's entrance plus this Stand United, those are the wombo combos you're looking for, as they are able to turn it around, pick down Pig Lord in the bot side. Meanwhile, On the Hunt was used by B&J in the mid lane, but able to survive and defend the tower just a bit. The topside tower is going to fall here to Frog, but they are willing to give that one up.
Yeah, and Lemons, let me tell you a story. Stop me if you've heard this one before, but Peak Lord HD and H2 Element, they go against Sean's Beard, and then all of a sudden a 2 versus 1 turns into a 3 versus 2. Like, I don't know. It sounds like a very familiar story to me, and it's starting to ring a few bells of what might have happened there, as that is yet another assist picked up here on this casted. 1 level off that fabled level 16 mark. And keep in mind, he went for the Conqueror this game, not the Fleet of Footwork. That is going to give him so much more potency in these team fights. What with all the extra adaptive damage and all the healing coming out compared to that Fleet of Footwork. Binks, that's a very cheeky noodle skill.
Oh my goodness. He's just swinging those pool noodles and doesn't care who he hits. He just picks up that blue buff right out from under Frog, and that's just a bit unfortunate for Frog, who had actually been doing that for a good while. And we are going to see a dragon spawning here in less than a minute, and I expect a big fight, especially from ATS, who you can already see are focusing down that way. You do have TP, you do have Stand United available, both TPs in the top lane also, so I expect there to be a last minute call and both TPs coming down.
Yeah,
or at least
and
the Stand United and TP, sorry.
I know we are on sole point here for your one-man dance party, but the one dragon in this game that has been picked up by Apes Together Strong is that Cloud Dragon. And when you start thinking about, oh man, who could use ultimate cooldown reduction here on the side of Apes Together Strong? You remember Depression, Toasted Crayons, BNJ, like that is just going to be so hard to deal with. We're going to be flashing out of that one.
Yeah, it's a big cooldown for Lulu to use before the big fight that's just about to unfold in front of you. Culping is going to be used early as well, just trying to zone them off of the point. A bit unfortunate to use that so early, though.
Yeah, Saza's been using that.
Oh, here comes off the Garadra. Sean Spear looking to continue in. That's the big engage. That's the wombo combos coming through. Let's bounce on the backside as well. That's going to be Lulu going down. No flash available. Saza is on the backside trying to get the damage down. Here comes Frog, who's late to the party. He shows up and everybody is gone, Goferino. Every single member is going to end up getting wiped off of Summoner's Rift here for ODP if they can catch up Frog. And they do. They pick up the dragon after, and the fight goes whole-handedly in ATS's favor.
Man, and we've been hammering on this entire game, Lemons. Man, this is so dead even. Could we possibly see a comeback? But we finally see the first 5 versus 5 fight of this entire game so far, and look at it. 5-for-1 in the favor of Apes Together Strong, and it really just speaks to their team name. Like, they're not even hiding it at this point. Like, 5 versus 5, they completely stomp that fight. They just Giga Smurf on it, they get the dragon, they get 5 kills, and you only lose Sean's Beard in return. Sure, he had a decent shutdown, but you will trade that shutdown for 5 kills and a dragon.
So, it's just crazy to me, and there's really nothing you can do about it besides maybe not taking big fights anymore. But in that, I mean, everything was used pretty much perfectly from the side of ATS. You had the On the Hunt used into the slingshot from the Zac with the hero's entrance coming down, the Stand United on top of it. Like, everybody showed up at the same moment, and that's exactly what led to them trying to clear out the dragon pit, trying to get a little positioning. Saza gets caught out, and then everything downfalls from there. It's like dominoes falling. Meanwhile, Saza is just going forward, thinking that he's got what it takes, but he doesn't. Let's bounce comes right back through, as that's going to be as well. Stand United used. Chrono Break goes through onto Pig Lord, able to take down B&J on the backside of it, though. As they are able to get something out of it here, but just, it's an oppressive team composition coming out from ATS, and it's just being used beautifully. Flash forward, that's going to be Sean Spear picking that one up, and we are officially in the cast of win period.
Oh, Sean's Beard. Like, you saw that damage too, right, Lemons? Like, I wasn't hallucinating there. This is a 7-3-9 casting with 206 CS. Fully stacked row, fully stacked Seros.
He's just
not over yet.
He doesn't even care. Sean's Beard's going in on the Frog. He does get death rounds here, as well as the biggest snowball ever comes around the corner, but not going to land on anything. H2O Element's got to be real careful. He's trying to help his teammate, but he's just going to get lost to the drag as well, as he does beautifully take the blast cone over the wall, but it's actually Caston was looking to try and continue the chase here, as now Sean's Beard is actually going to be engaged upon by Saza, who has been taking those very aggressive moments, but sometimes they work out.
Yeah, and Salsa, like, when he goes aggressive, sometimes it works, but a lot of times it falls flat on its face. Like, 4-8 this game with the second most deaths, and he's only second to JV Frog, who kind of got hard cam top lane and who is kind of a bit of the front line here for this composition. And it kind of speaks to Saza. Like, we saw last game on the Tristana too, where he's taking all those risky rocket jumps under the tower even at one point that just backfired so hard. And this game, it feels like no different. And I hope Saza is able to fix that up going on later into this game to help his team come back, because you can't beat the engagement on the solution. You're there to DPS.
Yeah, and you do have wild growth, so you feel a little bit more confident. Meanwhile, the confidence is there. They're going to engage here on the hunt with Use, but that's a lot of damage on the Pig Lord. The Stand United is used as well. Taunt's going to land, not actually going to go through on the H2O, but after all those fireworks, after all of that being used, it's actually going to be ODP who backed down from it.
Yeah, and that's kind of a bit unfortunate, because if you're trying to go for those engages and they aren't working out, it's kind of a sign of the end is nigh.
They're just going to force Baron here. They know they can't take the fight. They have too much of that combo.
But they are contesting against the Consume and Smite here from the H2O elements, so we might potentially see a steal. No flash though.
H2O needs to get in position to steal it though. Needs to get over the wall. Here comes Piglord to do it himself. He's going to try and go golden. That is still going to be the Baron taken, as well as the hero's entrance right into the pit. That is going to be H2O taken down first. Frog is looking like the next target here. The Depression takes no damage from this Mordekaiser anymore, and that fight goes all in favor of ATS yet again. It was unfortunate that they weren't able to get in position earlier for ODP, as they did have some time to get around the front of the pit, but it seemed like they waited at their red buff because they couldn't make the decision if they wanted to full in commit for it or not. And that little bit of time, it was only about 5 seconds, but it definitely cost them a lot in that fight, as we're going to see Cohen go down from Saza trying to defend the tower, but is not going to be able to.
Yeah, and that indecision is what might just cost them the game here. Because look at the gold lead now, Lemons. 8,500 gold between these two teams. Make that 8,400. Still, though, that is a massive amount of gold. The most we've seen this entire game by a long stretch. And it might be extended even further, as that's another inhibitor turret. There's the slingshot.
Slingshot is the less bounce into the combo here, as we're going to see H2O Element getting stunned up, but it's Piglord on the backside. He's going to be able to chrono break out of it. We got a lot of damage coming in from Saza. That's going to be going golden is Sean's Beard. He gets taken down next. Piglord able to help him out and kill him. And now it's going to be a big fight, 4v4 going on here. We have a lot of damage going down. H2O gets caught out here on the backside. Piglord going on B&J. Is he going to be able to pick up the kill, the burn, the ticking? It is going to get him, but he goes down as well. And that could just be it. That's your damage. All you've got left is Frog and Garadra. And are they going to be able to make the defense? We'll have to see, as it's going to be all or nothing, as Frog goes into the death realm trying to take down Toasted Crayon. He's losing his base. Meanwhile, though, as they are slowly but surely going to take this game. And Apes Together Strong will be your Rampage Open champions.
Oh my god, and just when we thought the potential for the reverse sweep was coming through, the game on a knife's edge, Apes Together Strong, they did what they do best. They group as 5, they go for the fight, they win the fight, they win the game. And I mean, Apes Together Strong, you deserve this Rampage Open first place finish, and I am happy to have casted this.
I am as well. Just, it was a bit rocky there for Apes, definitely in that third game, but they've shown out beautifully after taking some convincing fights there around those objectives, and really just a convincing series here. I mean, you see the damage coming out from Saza. It takes over the entire graph because he was doing a lot for his team, but the collective of Apes Together Strong, the togetherness, as we've highlighted over and over again, was what really ruled the day and led to this impressive 3-0 sweep between or against, I guess, one man dance party. I mean, it was just absolutely stunning.
And I do think it's fitting because the Planet of an Apes is a trilogy, and Apes Together Strong, they win this series in a very epic trilogy. And I mean, life imitates art. That's all I can say, Lemons.
Yeah, I definitely do. And we are going to be getting a setup on an interview here pretty soon for you, but did want to break down these games just a bit here for you. As game one, went into it with high hopes for sure. After a few moments, it was definitely ATS who were able to just take it whole-handedly. Same with game number two. It was all in favor of ATS. Game number three was back and forth over and over again, with that one crucial fight around the Dragon Pit really being the catalyst to the rest of the game. And honestly, I just want to take a moment and say that One Man Dance Party had a hell of a season. They performed so well. Maybe not today, and it all comes down to daily performances, especially who shows up on the day, who performs mechanically on the day. Today was not their day, but there is some strength from these individual members, and I am so excited to see their growth going forward. And I hope to see them playing again sometime in the future. And then to turn our heads over to the champions here, who we will be hearing from, Binks, I believe, here in just a few moments, but just to look at them and applaud them for the strength that they showed and to show us and present to us on a golden platter why they should be the champion.
Yeah, like, I mean, not to undercut One Man Dance Party here. You did get to the finals for a reason here. It's not a fluke, but Apes Together Strong, like, I mean, that was just pure domination. Like, there's no other way to phrase it. Sure, that game number three was close, but we all saw what happened after that dragon fight. It was just complete steamroll from there on out.
Indeed. And it it's so hard. I mean, I think we obviously give the MVP here to Binks for being just such an integral part to the series in general, especially on this Zach that just performed so well. I mean, even in this last game, 6-1 and 20, he had so many engages, so much just presence around the map, and it didn't change in any of the other games. So I wholeheartedly believe that he deserves it. But I think a special mention should definitely go down to Depression, who in game one pulled out the Alawi into a matchup that was not in his favor and won it beautifully, handed over the keys to the kingdom in that top lane, and pretty much just helped springboard the rest of the series into this 3-0 fashion that we saw.
And I feel like you could give a shout out to the entire Apes Together Strong roster here, Lemons. Like, everybody was on point this series. Like, we saw a whole lot of support coming out from the Twitch chat for Toasted Crayons, and he was on point with those Galley ultimates to be sure. But BNJ, like, saw the entire series. Like, this was his poorest performance, 4-7 and 14. And you're like, that's not bad. Like, you look at the other games. But with that all being said, I do believe we have a special guest here, Binks, the MVP of our Risen Rampage Open Finals here for a quick interview.
Indeed, and we'll be getting that set up for you. I think we might just have a few little issues getting him into the channel for us, but it is the man himself, I believe, as that is going to be Binks, who's muted right now, but I'm sure we'll unmute in just a moment.
Yeah, and Binks, like, I gotta ask, like, how are you feeling right now? You did just win all the money. Oh, wait, there seems to be some technical issues. Our MVP of the Risen Rampage Finals doesn't have permission to talk, even though he just overcame the insurmountable and won this huge MVP prize.
It's because of the amount that they're winning here. You got to be careful on who all knows and whatnot, and who all speaks, but we will get this technical difficulty through very quickly here for you, and be able to speak with Binks himself on the other side of it. But it is him. He is here. I believe he can speak. How are you feeling, Binks?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was a solid 3-0 sweep. All the people who doubted us, I wanted to prove them wrong, and that's what I set out to do, and that's what we did.
You did indeed, in spectacular fashion as well. And how did it feel being able to just dominate so heavily and be so present on the map as this Zach?
Well, coming from one of the hardest series our team had for the entire playoffs was last week at a
Mhm.
5-match, like going through and then moving into a 3-0. It's like they couldn't stop our snowballing, our momentum. Every single game, we just kept getting more objectives, and they just kept. They weren't able to stop us. They weren't able to stop us from going, especially that forfeit, which really surprised us going
Hey, it
in.
surprised us
It
too.
surprised us too.
We were
Even
like sitting
Caddy.
there in the middle of it, and all of a sudden the game ends. But oh, okay, I guess it's over. The biggest thing for me, at least in this last game, Binks, was the amount of wombo combo y'all had and the excellency that was pulled off every single time, especially that last big one around the dragon pit. I mean, it's just got to feel like everything's falling into place at that point.
Well, I mean, it really, like, we won from the draft when we had like the
Yeah.
correct team fight. Like, that's always what we go for in our draft, is just winning those team fights, and it always combos perfectly together every time. And I gotta say, it would have been closer if they drafted better, but like a new first pick just wasn't it, and they didn't have the team fight to really go against us or stop us in any of the games. So I think we really won from the draft when we just had a superior team fight.
I do
So
too,
I'm
for sure.
picking
Go
up.
ahead, go for you.
Oh yeah, sorry, lemons. But I'm picking up a lot of shade being thrown against your opponents here. Is it a case of they were just kind of a lot worse than you, or do you feel like it was a case that you were a lot better than them?
I mean, they're the top seed in their division, so like they definitely aren't bad. They have the same score as us. They're winning just the same as us. I think really it just came down to a draft, the mental, because they obviously weren't feeling too great. And if I was 0-1, 0-2 going into my final match, I wouldn't be playing too hot either. So I can't really blame them. But like they definitely aren't like the worst team in the world, and they don't deserve all the flame they're getting. I mean, they made it this far with the same score we did. Like, anything can happen in these games. We just happen to win with our better drafting and our better composition overall.
Yeah, it honestly was just a bit surprising. The last thing I want to ask about is going into game one when they chose 3 scaling lanes and ended up like rounding out the composition with the cane. Did you guys have any worry going into game one that maybe this kind of like try and snowball is going to affect your guys' lanes? I mean, obviously in the game it didn't affect you guys whatsoever. You guys smashed them. But like going from that first draft, did you have any worries in your mind?
I mean, as soon as we saw the cane and saw an Olaf ban and they let 2 of our like best people
Yeah.
through, what we have a 100% win rate with, like we were feeling very confident, and especially going against the cane, like that doesn't work in a 5v5 environment where you can just play safe and he can't get his orbs and he can't get his form. And you saw that in the second game where he had a 20-minute rust and it took
Yeah.
so long for him to actually get his form. So we were feeling really confident upon seeing the cane. We were very okay with him going it twice.
And that confidence was definitely warranted. And I guess one last question here before you do go off and celebrate your win with your team, Binks. But I mean, 8-1 with a clean 3-0 in the finals, that is one hell of a run. And I have to admit, it was a pleasure of mine to cast you in a lot of these games coming up to these finals, including the finals itself. And I mean, this is a bit of a mean question, but coming into next season, like your team has evolved a lot. Do you think next season you're going to rebrand as Humans Strong Together instead of Apes Strong Together?
I don't know. I mean, the thing we liked most about this name is like we knew we weren't the best players in the world. We're all gold, and in the league scene, we're essentially apes. But together, we are strong, and that's what we showed during the series, and that's what we showed by winning so hard. Because even though individually we aren't the best, we're the best together. We were apes together, strong.
Well, I
Oh
appreciate
man.
the humbleness coming out from you, and I know there was a lot of support for your team in the chat, and even me and Lemons kind of debated like there were a lot of potential other MVPs on the team. We just kind of decided with you. But with that being said, thank you for this interview, Binks. Thank you for streaming this, caddy, and this will be the Risen Rampage Open Finals concluding here. There is a stream going on Risen 2, though, for everybody who wants to tune in. Make sure to tune in because that is a very exciting match. Even though it's not the finals, it is the semifinals.
It is indeed. And again, just one last time, Binks, I just wanted to see if you have any shout outs to anybody you want to talk to before we send it off.
You know, really, I just have to shout out our bot lane, specifically B&J, because from the beginning of the series, they were our weakest lane. They were not doing the best, and we had to try hard to carry him. But seeing him evolve into these final matches, doing the most damage, winning his lanes, doing very well, I have to shout it out to him because he has grown the most in the series.
I love to hear it. I love to hear it. But thank you again, Binks. Go celebrate this championship as it is Apes Together Strong who are crowned your Rampage Open champions. Now, if you want, you can follow me over to Risen Esports 2 as I will be picking up the cast there for the last 2 games potentially. And we'll see you all on the other side on Risen 2.
All right.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere, I swear, like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no, hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no, keep running. Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere, I swear, like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no, hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no, keep running. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous, but it's so fun. Running low, keep running. I'm running low, keep running. Like an outlaw on the run. Dangerous, but it's so fun. Run, run, run. Dangerous, dangerous. Run, run, run. Dangerous, dangerous. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth, maybe get